That one's on. Oh, now that one's not on. But it'll reset. It will work.
It just big.
Okay.
State law.
'26. And as many of you know, in the open meeting, the Pledge of Allegiance, I would like to ask Eagle Scout Christopher Stone to come on down and start the Pledge of Allegiance for us. Stay at the podium. No, come up. Pledge of Allegiance and stay right where you are.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stay there. Congratulations. We have in front of us this evening, Christopher Stone. I apologize for not being at his actual ceremony. My calendar this year has been changed for health reasons. But Christopher is at the highest rank that a Boy Scout can achieve. What are the numbers? 2%, 5%?
Like
Boy Scouts?
5% of anybody.
It's the highest level. It's the one thing when he's 50 and told that he achieved at 18 or at 2. Probably the others we hope, but that's kind of how it goes in life. The one thing you'll never be out of is the club. You're in an elite group. Only Eagle Scouts have walked on the moon. And Eagle Scouts are the best that we have as Boy Scouts and the beginning of a great adulthood. And tonight, I want to recognize you officially as Boy Scout Troop 6, Christopher Stone, Eagle Scout. Whereas, since it was founded in 1910, Boy Scouts of America have encouraged its members to develop citizenship and community involvement and to strive to attain personal goals as set forth by Scouting's numerous programs. Whereas, to fill the Eagle Scout requirement, Warren resident Christopher Stone launched and completed a collection project to benefit Gabriel's Call, an organization sponsored by his parish, St. Mary of the Bay. This organization furnishes women who are pregnant with assistance through a confidential intervention program. For his part, Christopher collected more than 500 items for mothers to be and beyond pregnancy to make their lives easier by providing important goods for material needs. And whereas, having completed the requirements for and having been examined by an Eagle Court Board of Review, Christopher Stone has been found worthy of the rank of Eagle Scout. Therefore, let it be known that the Warren Town Council and the citizens of the town of Warren recognize his hard work, dedication, and commitment, and hereby commemorate this outstanding achievement. Moved by the Town Council on January 13th, 2026, Terry Cronin, Vice President, John Hanley, Derek Trombley, and Louis Rayo. Congratulations. was a man of few words, I remember him. And this is one of those moments where you get to realize 30 years ago, he was, no, not 30, he was 30. And he was about 5, and we were wrestling. For some amount of time that I'm bad with that,
It's
but a
too
long
long.
time ago.
It had a conflict, this
Yeah,
took.
according to the public, the power from my great father.
Oh, yeah, you've been involved. I've tried to be there for as much as we can and kept an eye on Christopher and his mother Amy and his whole family. They've done a tremendous job. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
How are you? Good, how are you?
Anthony, it's not on the agenda, but we have public comment, people who would like to publicly comment. It's possible, correct?
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
Should we go through the public hearing next time?
Right, then, is it the next meeting? Is it full?
Yeah, it's the next.
The very next, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So just so the people know, public comment is an opportunity to speak on items that aren't on the agenda. So if you're here to speak about a specific agenda item, you will speak about that item at that time on the agenda. That understood? Okay. We have the public hearing. It's the discussion and action regarding the start time of 6 P.M. for the future budget meetings and public hearings. Wednesday, March 18th, 2026, Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. And this is regarding the budget creation period that's beginning. This is the beginning of. Is there any discussion from the public in this, on this issue?
You make a motion to approve those dates?
We're gonna approve the time. Oh, 6 P.M.
Yeah, I think.
All right.
If it is 6
I
P.M.
guess we're-
Yep, you got
That
it.
works for me, I can get you up at that time.
And the public, it's a public hearing, open to everyone's input. Okay, so there's Anthony, we will take the motions after we close the public hearing.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have a discussion and soliciting comments from residents related to goals and objectives with the fiscal year 26-27 budget. This is an opportunity for people to speak about what they would like to see put into our budget. We'll try to facilitate that request or issue that you're bringing forward, but it's not a guarantee. So if anybody would like to come up, this is the opportunity as mandated in the charter for the public comments to begin and participate in our budget process. Sure, come on up. Name and address and
My name is Jeremy McVeigh, 60 Patterson Avenue. So I've got just a couple of things I wanted to bring up before everybody. We have a pump station right next to our house and my neighbors here as well. Pumping station has been putrescent for the last few months in particular, but there's large orders coming from there. I've tried to dig into the town a little bit more, just said that they're aware of the issue is what I told, I think, for DPW. So I know that there was funds that were supposed to go to redoing that a long time ago, it just hasn't been done, and it's just, they've got now multiple generators outside, one of them came on, anyway, you don't need to know all the details, the main thing is, if we could try to earmark some money to take care of that, it's been an unpleasant neighbor, kind of crappy, if you will. So anyway, that's the issue that I would like, yeah, and then the other thing is, I'm a harbor commissioner as well here, try to volunteer my time for the town and get back to you guys as well. And we've been working for a long time trying to get some things done, get the DPW and or the town to try to help out with clearing out the rights of ways. I do the one at the end of our street, which is, you know, I try to help out and clean that out. I know some of the other members we've helped out as well, and the harbor master. So anyway, trying to earmark some money to do that. And then we also have granite markers that we already had made and everything to put there, and the harbor commission is trying to get those put in place, so they're actually marked for the public, and those haven't been done. So those are just some things I'd like to bring to your attention, and we appreciate you taking the time.
well, thank you very much. Those are all issues that I was going to actually discuss at a certain point with our department heads. And the reports that came in, the monthly reports. So I appreciate you bringing that forward. And thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna try to do our best.
We appreciate it.
Come on forward.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name's Al Cabral. I live at 57 Patterson Ave, which is directly across the street from the pumping station Jeremy just spoke about. My wife and I, Marilyn, have lived there since 1979, which, if my math is correct, is 47 years. And I've never once made any complaints about the pumping station. But over the last 6 months, it's really gotten very noxious. The odors are extremely strong. We find ourselves during the summer months and the fall, we had to close windows because of the wave rate into the house. My understanding is there may be some type of a mechanical malfunction in the plant. I was told that there's a gate valve which separates the two wet holding tanks. And that there's a problem with that gate valve, which has made it so that they cannot clean out these tanks, which results in an anaerobic decomposition of the material in the tanks, which again, just horrendous smells. Everybody in the neighborhood's been complaining about it. Several people said they might write an email. In addition, the building is falling into terrible disrepair. I welcome any of you if you're in the area of Patterson Avenue. Take a ride down there, paint peeling, mold growing all over the building, wood rotting on the fascia board. I believe the last time there was any upgrades to that building was in the mid-70s when they tied in the east side of town. Since then, there's been a lot of work throughout the town on sewage pumping plants, particularly the north end. They have a very modern facility there, and unfortunately, we're living with a 70-year-old or more facility. So my request is that, you know, the council and finance committee look at the need to allocate funds to finally upgrade that facility, and make it a little more pleasant. The only other comment I wanted to make is that when we have reevaluation of our properties, because I have a view of the Kickamuit River, not access, just a view, there's a multiplier added to the value of my property because of this view. Well, living across from a pumping station, I sort of feel that maybe there should be a reduction in the value of your property. Because several years ago, we did consider selling the house. And as soon as people drove in and saw the pumping station and said, yeah, we have no interest. So that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you for your time and interest.
Well, thank you, and next month we'll have a full report available, or probably even before that. Manager has heard this. There's probably complete information regarding the problem, and the process probably is funding. And to help you understand, just quickly, the North Main, that was fully paid for by the American Tourist Project. Just, it may not make the smell any better, but just,
I turned 72 this year, so hopefully it gets done within the next 10 years, but I don't know how much longer I have.
hopefully it'll be done within the year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
But like I said, the report will be, I guarantee you, by next month. And we'll be able to give you the no excuse, absolute reason why. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Hunt. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is William Hunt. I live at 7 Beechwood Court, and I'm also the vice chairman of the Harbor Management Commission, and I'm the town's representative to the CRMC. I'm not here to ask for a specific budget request, although as you can see, well, it's related to it, so
Is it a budget request?
it is a budget request.
Okay.
It's specifically related to the budget, which I believe is out allowed in the ordinance.
If it's a budget request, it
Yes.
is.
So, as my fellow commissioners have brought up, there's a lot of harbor related maintenance that needs to be done, and so my purpose here tonight is to put on the record the structural issue on how the harbor generated revenue is handled. And ask for the establishment of a harbor management fund to be recognized as a budget goal, so it can be evaluated during the upcoming budget development process. As the council is aware, the town collects recurring user fees associated with the harbor, including moorings, docks, kayak racks, and other uses related to the tidal waters. And the revenues consistently exceed the documented cost of harbor operations. On average, the town of Warren collects about $40,000 to $60,000 more per year in harbor-related revenue than it spends on harbor-related expenses. And in the last 3 fiscal years, harbor revenues have exceeded harbor operating expenses by roughly 45 to 55%. Despite this, the town has no dedicated funding mechanism to ensure those revenues are used for harbor purposes such as routine maintenance, capital replacement, public access improvements, storm preparedness, and hazard mitigation. And as a result, harbor operations are funded at basically a keep the lights on basis. And aging infrastructure, the docks need to be updated. The bulkhead at the town wharf has only been half completed. We had to use capital grant funds to do the first half of the town wharf. Just zincs to keep the steel from corroding and having the same problem happen again is sorely needed. Any annual surplus is absorbed into the general fund without programmatic control. And so this is not a revenue problem, it's a governance and budget structure problem. The issue is relevant to the budget cycle for 3 reasons. First, the town has adopted plans, including the harbor management plan and the hazard mitigation plan that explicitly recognize waterfront infrastructure risks and ongoing maintenance responsibilities. There's currently no funding structure capable of implementing those plans. Second, the town is discussing whether harbor use fees should be updated. Fees have not been meaningfully revised since 2008, and without a dedicated harbor fund, it becomes difficult to justify fee adjustments as being tied to harbor needs rather than just general revenue for the town. Third, deferred maintenance guarantees higher costs. Emergency repairs are the most expensive way to manage public infrastructure, and you can't be relying on intermediate grants and that whole process to be funding these initiatives. So the Harbor Management Commission is asking the council to consider as a budget goal the establishment of a harbor management fund consistent with the guidance from the Rhode Island Coastal Resources Management Council. This is what recommended in during the harbor management plan. When we're putting it together, they have a guide that outlines this process explicitly. In simple terms, the harbor generated revenue would be deposited into the restricted fund. Existing harbor operating costs would continue to be funded. Any annual surplus would remain available for maintenance, capital replacement, public access improvements, storm response, and hazard mitigation, required local match for state and federal grants. And this would not raise taxes, it would not require new fees, and it does not remove the council's oversight. Appropriations would still occur annually through the normal budgeting process. So the request tonight is narrow and appropriate for the agenda. That the town council recognize the harbor management fund as a goal for the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget and direct staff to evaluate it during the budget development. This is about fixing the structure before debating fee levels and capital projects, because again, it's hard to justify increasing harbor use fees if we're not spending the money on the harbor and it's just going into the general fund. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
A quick rebuttal. Mr. Hunt would simply be correct. The money goes into the general fund. And we don't have the fiscal elasticity right now to start putting money into non-restricted funds. I mean, that's the answer.
I would understand that. So, yeah, that's
You
fine.
gave us an idea.
Sure.
I'm giving you the reason why that idea has been thought of, and unfortunately able to be implemented, because right now it's every person in the household who makes money, it goes into the house fund. That's how we're dealing with this situation that we're trying to get over, but I appreciate that input. And I won't say that it's falling on deaf ears. Anyone else? Okay,
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for participating.
I'll
It
make,
does matter.
I'll make the motion that we consider the ideas that we heard in the public hearing, and also a motion that we do approve the 6 p.m. start time for Wednesday, March 18th and Wednesday, March 25th. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, we have another public comment period. Now we have the opportunity for anyone in the public to come forward and speak on a non-agenda related issue. So if there's something that you would like to bring to our attention that isn't on the agenda, we can't take a vote on or have an action, but we can definitely hear it and understand it and be prepared for the following month. Okay. Hearing none, no one, we'll move on.
I just want
Andy, please.
and it'd probably be a point of order. If there are any paid professionals that are here to give testimony on any item agenda. And the town manager or the department heads, please let us know now so we can get them out of the way so they're not on our dime for the whole meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. And I'm probably gonna do that for the next 3 months until we get that built into the system.
Okay, and also, I believe that there were some written comments. And there should be a motion to incorporate those written comments into the record for this meeting.
And so, oh, yeah, thank you. Is this, the one for
Yeah.
Mr. Greavy?
I'll make a motion that we incorporate
And the one for Ms.
the
Casper?
two letters for the comment period from Ms. McGreevy and Ms. McGreevy and Ms. Casper be incorporated into the record.
Are they to be read into the record? Sorry.
No, they need to be incorporated into the record, but they're written. So those written comments will be part of the minutes of the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Next, we have reappointments. We have,
Let's vote on that.
all in favor?
Aye.
That was a second.
Yeah.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next, we have reappointments to our boards and commissions. First is the Bristol County Water Authority Board of Directors, 3-year term, and Mr. John Janetto is up.
I make the motion to reappoint John Janetto.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, the tree warden, Matthew Largess.
Make a motion to reappoint Mr. Largess as the tree warden.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we have interviews. We have an opening on the Conservation Commission and there are no applicants. We have an opening on the Economic Development Board, no applicants. We do have an opening on the Juvenile Hearing Board. And this is for a full-time member. And one alternate position is available. We have an applicant, we have 2 applicants. And the first applicant is Maria Ursini. Is Maria here? Hi, Maria, could you come on down? Hi.
Hi.
So. You're a familiar face, but to the public,
Okay,
let everyone know what you want to do and why you want to do it.
okay, so my name is Maria Orsini. I live at 99 Water Street here in Warren. I've been an alternate on the Juvenile Hearing Board for over a year. And last month when we met, I was, my colleagues asked if I wanted to fill this position up. So I said, sure, why not? I'm already here. And that's why I put in the application to become, not be an alternate, be a
Full-time.
full-time member.
Right.
Basically, I do prevention work here in the town of Warren on a CDC grant. I've been with the town of Warren 8 years now. And I just feel that it's a good fit for me, especially working within the schools. The staff there work with our police department.
You do a great job.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Just a question, so if you leave the position, there'll be 2 alternate positions open, right now there's an alternate and a full-time, right? So there's 3.
Correct.
Oh,
Well, I just know that, I don't know the
okay,
just a bit, but yes, I would, fill that, and I assume I think there was 2 people
There's-
that
There's an
left
alternate-
last.
there's an alternate position as well as a full-time. You're applying for the full-time. We have a motion to agree.
Do the second interview before we appoint.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The second interviewee isn't here this evening. She was unable to attend.
In that case, I will make a motion to appoint Ms. Versini
Second.
to the full seat on the Juvenile Hearing Board.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
can I just ask the question, has Sarah ever applied for any boards?
I served with Sarah on the Parks and Recreation Board. I know her very well. I think she'd be a welcome addition to this board.
So if that's the case, then
She
said she'd come back, she'd come
in February. She just couldn't make it today.
Well, as you know, the process is if they've been interviewed, if the candidate's been interviewed previously, they can be appointed this evening. If you'd like to appoint her, that would be
Thank you.
approved.
I'd make the
Okay,
motion
acceptable.
to appoint Sarah
I'll second that.
Normandy to the alternate position.
And there's a second, all in favor?
Do we need to make a motion to advertise for another alternate now?
I believe you do.
No, I
No,
think
you
I
already
don't think
did.
you stated it properly. There was one full member position and one alternate,
Right,
right? They're both filled now.
well,
But she's the,
she's leaving.
she's leaving, so they're not as an alternate.
Okay.
We just put the, Sarah as the alternate.
Yeah, there was two alternates.
Yeah, so last month you had,
Oh, I'm sorry. I
and an
didn't look in-
alternate
Yeah, I
that
didn't
left.
look in the title.
So there is still one
Yeah.
alternate open?
They would be one,
Yes,
right?
Okay.
It's written there. I didn't
So
see
you
it.
amend your motion and to advertise for the open alternate position?
I'll amend my motions to advertise for the, open position, the, alternate.
And then there's a second on that.
Second by Carol. Aye.
Okay, moving along. We have an opening on the recreation board. There's no applicants. Rhode Island 250th Commission, no applicants. The tree commission, we do have an applicant. And this is Mr. Ken Yeager, 796 Main Street. Mr. Yeager here, come on down.
Yes, sir.
And is that a silent J?
Yes.
All right. So, things process, tell us a little bit about yourself, why you'd like to be on the committee, commission, and go right ahead.
Well, been in Warren for about 4 years and I really appreciated people taking care of it before I got here. And I'm a good gardener, so it seemed like something I could do. Say more.
It's about, I actually worked with you at the tree planting down at Burris Hill,
Yeah.
so I know you're committed,
He said a little bit. You worked a little bit. I was right by your side, too. A lot.
yeah, I walked around, thanks, Louis.
Make it.
Are there any other questions? Please, Mr. Tromley.
Thank you. So the Warren Tree Commission meets, 6:30 P.M. on, I believe, the third, Tuesday of the month, as Mary Clerk. So I'm just curious, you think you'll anticipate you'll have any issues making that, have you ever attended one of
Oh,
those?
yes, I've been as a friend of the trees, and I think it's Mondays, and it's been working fine, so I'll be there.
All right, well, I'm satisfied, thank you.
Make a motion to appoint Ken Hager.
And is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. And next we have a list of resignations. And we're going to take discussion and action regarding the advertising of the open board positions. And request the town clerk to send an appreciation letter to the following resigning board members. So we've changed the process a little, so all in one, we're going to be advertising as well as thanking. So first is the planning board member Ashley Medeiros. Second would be the Bristol County Water Authority Board member William Gosselin. I think Mr. Gosselin served 18 or 19 years.
Yeah, you don't know.
Then we have Warrant Arts and Culture Commission member Elizabeth O'Connell. And next, voluntary historic district committee member Carol Meeker. So is there a motion to?
I'll make a motion, we accept the resignations and send an appreciation letter. And also to advertise for the open position.
Second.
All in favor?
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, we have the acceptance of the 79 minutes, Ms. Cronin, and corrections.
I noticed that the attribution of one of the people who made a comment about the flock camera. The name of the person is Ann Raver and she was named Ann Park.
Yeah, all right.
And then in that same section at the bottom, under the at the motion, it said installation instead of installation cameras. A little,
Okay, those two corrections. Are there anything else? Is there a motion to accept with the corrections?
some of,
All in favor? Thank you. Next, we have the consent agenda, and that is on 1, 2, 3, marked with an asterisk. And we don't consider that for the discussion, and if somebody has to report that. There are motions.
We don't consider them required. They are.
Required discussion. Mr. Hamlin, I take that as,
I'll make a motion, we accept the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I will learn English. That's my God. Next, we have an ordinance, 01, chapter 32, zoning. It's the second reading, and this is article 13 zoning, district use regulations. Section 32-47, residential uses. Article 24, accessory dwelling units. Section 32, 131, accessory dwelling units by right. Section 32, 132, standards and requirements. Section 32, 133, occupancy restriction agreement. We sent this to the planning board, correct, last month?
That's correct, yeah.
And we have their recommendations, and this, we're going to take it from you.
Yes, and just as an introduction, this amendment, as was pointed out by Councilman Trombley, is pursuant to state statute to mandate under the Zoning Enabling Act that these provisions for accessory dwelling units be incorporated into the zoning ordinance. And we're a few weeks behind on this, but now it's time for action for it. Planning board did take a look at this and they have some suggestions for it. The first one, as you can see from their letter, is that the definition of an accessory dwelling unit in the state statute be incorporated into section 32-130 to replace the existing ADU definition in the current ordinance. I think it was a good pickup by the planning board. I recommend that you do that. It will make sure that your ordinance aligns with the state statute.
Should we vote on that now?
No.
Okay.
Secondly, in section 32-47, there are P designations. And in the zoning ordinance, in the use table, P means permitted use. S means special use permit. If there's nothing in there, that means it's not a permitted use. So the suggestion from the planning board was to put an asterisk next to the Ps, which would direct those looking at the zoning ordinance down to the language you have at the bottom of the use table. That the provisions for the permitted use, the accessory dwelling unit, is governed by sections 32-132 and 32-133. Again, it's a technical, but I recommend that you do that. While you're taking a look at this, I did notice that in section 32-132, it says that if it's non-conforming, the lot is non-conforming in the manufacturing and the commercial zones, that an accessory dwelling unit be by special use permit. In the use table, there is the P. So I think you have to make a determination as to whether or not you want to change the language in section 32-132, or to make it special use permits there.
Anthony, I have a question. I'm looking at the last sentence in that number 2. It says ADU should be permitted use in other districts such as VB, BW, and M. By state law, they have to be. Am I not correct on that?
No, I haven't gotten to that. The state statute, 45-24-37E, mandates that ADUs be a permitted use in all residential zoning districts. It's a policy consideration as to whether or not you want ADUs as a permitted use in the other districts, VB, the waterfront district, in the manufacturing district. Policy consideration.
And what is your recommendation on our input in that policy? Is that next?
Yeah, that's you have to make that.
What we're doing?
That's the suggestion from the planning board, that you review that, because the state statute says all residential zones. The question is whether or not you want to extend it to other zones.
Could we make it a special use permit in those zones?
Well, we can have Jenny here, but Jenny, I'm not quite done with the.
I'll wait till you finish and.
Thank you.
I might.
Sit right in the front row.
Yeah.
Could we make it a special use permit in those zones?
Yes, you could, yes. I will say that member Flanagan, the planning board, was very feisty at that.
I was interested.
She was feisty.
Tony, just for clarification, as I understand it, the accessory dwelling unit has to be accessory to an existing residential use.
That's correct, yes.
So so the reason that when I drafted this, I did not include the manufacturing, waterfront and other districts, because those districts do have residential buildings, residential uses in those districts. So wouldn't a factory, for example, could not have an accessory dwelling unit because it is a commercial or manufacturing based activity. But for those, it would create essentially a zone by which, even though you have a residential dwelling, even though you're in a largely residential area, you would still have to get a special use permit, which I don't think is the intent of the statute, and I think would create sort of a second-class citizen type approach to it. So I would prefer to keep it as a permit in all of the zones. I understand that may seem to be a mistake, but I did that very deliberately.
That's policy consideration.
Okay.
That's policy consideration.
This is, I have a question. When a commercial use structure is abandoned, what is the term for it to be considered for housing?
Reuse.
Adaptive reuse.
Reuse.
How does that play into?
It doesn't play into this. Councilman Trombley is correct. An accessory dwelling unit has to be accessory to residential. That's one of the reasons why I think you should put the definition in there, because it would make that clear.
That was a slip on my part. I had originally read the original definition that was in there and I thought it was quite applicable, or at least, I didn't see it as being in direct conflict with the statute. So I thought, leaving the definition as is would have been fine. But I respect, of course, the planning board, and I thank them for their input. And I think that the solicitor is in agreement that having the definition from that statute makes sense, and I agree with that.
I was thinking 2 steps down the road. So, I mean, of the process, like it plays out where, for the water authority, for example, if those 2 buildings had been.
That's a completely separate state law, that's adaptive reuse, and that would be permitted by right per state law.
But then there's residences there. So then wouldn't they be applicable to the ADU? Attached to a residence.
Once the residences are established, they could, in my opinion, they could come back and ask for an accessory dwelling.
That's correct. That's a correct statement.
How does that play into, so shouldn't we take a look at these other zones? Because even though they're not right now, down the road, they could. And I'm so confused about that, law, because you have manufacturing zones or their ability to have manufacturing capacity. Okay, up with the idea that they can then turn into housing.
Well, that was part of the package of laws that went in on that to encourage more residential housing. It spills off into other districts.
And
Normally you separate them because it's quality of life. Although I grew up on Franklin Street, directly across from the Warren now Fabric, which was running 24 hours a day, good. But that's the reason why the zoning normally separated them. This is, I think, pretty much our manufacturing districts are established, so anybody that's buying or moving into that area is gonna be aware of the potential noise or anything, so, you know, caveat emptor, let the fire beware.
I understand in a way, but in another way, the protection that the zoning is given to the manufacturing capabilities is being intentionally eroded by this.
Once we use all that land up, we're not gonna get, you're not gonna get.
Manufacturing back. I mean, I guess this isn't me saying how much I dislike the way this is being presented, but at the state there, not you. It's a medicine we're all forced to and then swallow, but it doesn't mean I like what tastes.
Just a quick question, so that's policy decision, so we wouldn't have to move on, right?
We do.
But we still have.
It's the rate, you can go on the ordinance as is. But the planning board's discussion, they wanted to bring these things to your attention. The planning board, their vote was to say, yes, it complies with the comprehensive plan, but take a look at these things on it, which I thought was appropriate.
Now, on that number 2, it says it is a policy decision, but it doesn't say what they recommend or what they thought we should do.
Well, that's not, that was actually on my place, that goes beyond what they do.
Oh, okay.
The question is, for them, does it comply with the comprehensive plan or not? While they were doing it, they had some good recommendations that were put into this for you to take a look at from a policy
The
standpoint.
one before that, it said this definition should be included.
Yeah, that was me.
So they're making a statement.
Yeah, that was, yeah, and I agree with them on that.
Okay.
That's actually by my suggestion. Well,
I was your suggestion.
was it? Yeah. So that just, it makes things better. You know what, the state statute, this is, the definition you see in one is the definition in the enabling act.
So are we gonna go through all 5 of these and that, let
Well,
Ms. Flanagan and other things?
yeah, because I think we're gonna have to vote on them individually.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah.
Ms. Flanagan's gonna yell at you for a little bit, then you can make it.
Alright, so now we're on what, number 4?
You're at three.
3, okay.
So, just go back to like, I apologize, but just, I think the alternative is to suggest instead of changing the Ps that are all in those sections in section 32-132, remove, that entire, yeah, I would just, I have to remove that entire section because either that or just have it as either that or change in the business district and manufacturing district and make it an S, which I would support if that makes folks more comfortable.
I think that's something that you all need to determine, and that's a good suggestion.
All right, thank you. I apologize. Go ahead.
Number 3 is more pedestrian. The state statute says that you can't require more than 1 4th Street parking space per bedroom of the ADU. The policy for you all is whether or not you want 1 parking space per ADU or 1 parking space per bedroom of the ADU.
I got a question on that. So you could have a house that has no parking right now for the people that live there. How does that work? Is there a number of spots that the people that live there have to have also?
No, because they're grandfathered in.
So that you could have a situation
Well,
with no parking.
in Pawtucket, and I don't know if it's because they altered,
Right,
if they altered the ordinance. But say for instance, in Pawtucket, if you have a 2-family home. Parking requirements are 2 parking spaces per unit. So you would have to show us 5 to get your ADU. If you don't even have the original 4. You still can't get the ADU until you show us 5 off-street parking spaces. I don't know if they tweaked the ordinance outside of the state enabling legislation, but that's the way we've been doing it. I've been enforcing that since they adopted the new ordinance.
we're in Warren.
That is the correct participation.
So
I believe that's.
Correct, so, yeah, so I think Lewis is right, now, would we have to tweak this to say that? We're gonna require, but if you don't have enough parking space now. Then you gotta get enough for what you have and 1 more for the ADU, that was my intent when I said.
Under this ordinance, if you have a residential structure in this town that has no parking, then you're not entitled to an ADU because you can't come up with the 1
Well,
space either per bedroom.
Suppose you don't have any parking, but you can squeeze 1 in. You couldn't get any parking before, but now you can squeeze 1 in.
You get a visit from that.
I think this is a very serious.
Yeah, if you don't have.
Serious issue,
Yeah,
that's why
if
they're
you-
bringing it up.
Yeah, if you get some of these bigger houses, if they're supposed to have 6 spots and they have none, we're gonna give them an ADU. And all they're gonna do is give us 1 parking spot? No, you gotta give us what's required for the 6 plus 1, that's what I would want the ordinance to say.
Matt, current parking for a residential structure, do we have minimum parking?
On new structures,
Okay. What about old structures?
they're grandfathered in.
Well, yeah, but they're legal non-conforming, but once you change it, on a new structure, how many is it per unit?
Mr. Gavral, if you're gonna speak, please come to the podium, and let's all kind of corral this to really specific questions without across the room.
Matt, what is the parking requirement for a new?
One per unit.
1 per unit, so if you have 4, you should have, your legal non-conforming with your 4 with no parking space.
Here's the next question. So you have a prior non-conforming use that doesn't have sufficient parking. When the ADU goes on, do you consider it now to be a prior non-conforming use with the addition of the ADU?
Now the ADU will be the parking, just like if you had an apartment, you had an apartment outside the village business, it required parking. So if you're gonna add an apartment, now you have to, whatever's there is there, the new requirement is on the form of the parking.
So it overrides the non-conforming use
Yeah.
that originally allowed the occupancy.
I would actually like the legal opinion.
You wanna-
We do it the way I just explained it, is how we've been doing it for over a year in the city of Kentucky. You have a house that has no parking, even if it's a one house, a single family. You wanna add the ADU, you've gotta show us three. Cause it requires two and one for the ADU. Cause you're expanding a non-conforming, when the parking is non-conforming. And you're expanding it by increasing the requirement for another space. You can't expand a non-conforming without relief, the way I interpret it.
Don't stay.
So you would have to give us the four that you owe us, plus the one for the ADU.
I agree with that statement.
They don't really. Yeah.
All right.
So how do we put
I
that in
know
the
it's so.
ordinance?
I don't recommend that you put it in this ordinance.
Okay.
I recommend you put it in with the existing parking regulations.
This is to come to the mic so that this language will be picked up.
My recommendation would be to put that,
Thanks.
in the
Matt.
existing parking regulation, because it goes beyond the ADU.
But it would include the ADU.
It would include the ADU and the existing non-conforming use.
So there are people who choose not to have parking. And all of a sudden they could put an ADU in and still have that choice not parking, but comply by allowing one spot.
No, they would have to supply, if they would either need a dimensional relief on the parking requirements, or they would have to provide
Based on,
parking for the entire structure based on the total number of
right,
dwelling
based,
units.
based on what you do in Pawtucket, but here, I would believe that's the way it would work.
Right, but he
He
said
just-
we're gonna change that in the parking requirements.
We'll change the ordinance, but I have to say, as a matter of zoning law, because you're expanding the non-conforming use, then you have to bring the entire structure into compliance. That makes sense.
So I think what we're trying to protect against, if I'm understanding, and I think I do, is that if the home has a driveway and it has enough parking for 2 cars and it has it only requires 1, and then they want to put an ADU in, that adds 1, they could do that because they have that extra space.
Correct.
But if they're already at 2 for whatever reason, then they couldn't add on that ADU without an additional.
They would need to add another parking
Correct.
spot. Correct.
So I think we're all on the same page about what that would require. The question though for this is, would they be required to add 1 for the ADU or 1 per bedroom of the ADU? So if it was a 2-bedroom ADU, they'd be required to have 2 additional parking spaces. I think it should just be 1 per ADU.
Correct.
Which is what John had suggested.
Right, but I just, I
Council
kind of
can't.
swerved off into the.
No, it's
Into the total
it's related.
together. I just wanted to make sure that 1 for the ADU is, if you're not in compliance with your parking, you've got to get into compliance with your parking and add 1 for the ADU, or you're not going to be able to use the ADU law. And the reason I look at that is, look, some of the houses on Water Street, there's 3-4 units. They have no parking spaces and they want to add another unit? Which, you get the pretty dense sections of town could get hit pretty hard with this if we don't have that requirement in there. They always have the option to go to the board and get dimensional relief or
Yes.
to get that number.
Is the answer to this then, it'd be 1, the current ordinance proposed before you is 1 parking space per ADU?
Yes.
Correct. And I think that goes along with the 1 parking space per dwelling unit for the new construction. So that would be uniform with that.
What we're also going to do with this is force property owners to make a decision. There are people, as we've noted, that have backyards they enjoy. Well, they have to make a choice.
Correct.
And I wouldn't disagree that some of the backyards are beautiful. And putting a parking spot there wouldn't be my preference. But if they want to do this, I think they should be held accountable.
Correct.
Because the people without parking can't do it. So.
Yep.
I agree.
Okay.
Next.
So,
We're not voting on these right now. We're agreeing for future discussion this evening.
one of the questions that came up during the planning board meeting was there are standards for ADUs in section 32-133 when review for the zoning board to apply when reviewing applications for an ADU. The planning board's suggestion was that those same standards should be included in section 32-131, and if it remains section 32-132, in order to promote consistent application of the ordinance.
Makes sense.
All right, I'm trying to reread that again.
Yeah.
Condense that, Anthony, please. In other words,
I read it as consistency.
so in other words, the new ADU requirements are gonna supplement what we have, and actually, why do we still need ADU requirements in the zoning ordinance if we're gonna put the other ADU requirements, if we're gonna put this in?
What the planning board was concerned about, if you look in section 32-133, you have a series of standards in there. And that is, the size for the 2-bedroom ADU at 1,200 square feet is 60% of the floor area, the principal dwelling unit, whichever is less. No additional infrastructure improvements in connection with the ADU, including but not limited to separate water or sewer service, unless such improvements and/or modifications are required by the applicable state agency.
So we're getting rid of the old requirements and replacing them with the new?
It would just be, this is specific to the ADU. If you take a look at 131, it's got total area of the property, and it's within the existing footprint in that those type of provisions. That's for the by right ADU.
Okay.
So what the planning board suggests is that you make sure that those provisions in section 32-133 standards and requirements also apply up there.
Okay.
Can these be turned into condos?
No,
Yes.
no.
So they can be sold
Building
separately from the
code and zoning
They
code goes
cannot.
by unit. Condo is just a form of ownership.
Yeah, but what if it turns into a condo, Mr. Trolley?
They cannot. By state law, they cannot be subdivided. There's a provision in the statute that prohibits that.
Yeah, if you take a look, I think this is one of the reasons why the planning board wanted to do what they did, because it says no separate services.
That's what I was thinking when you
Yeah.
talked about the sewer and the water and all of that singular hookup.
Yeah, although I have to say, there's going to be a lawsuit on that.
Mr. Rego has a question.
So, with the separate service, how do we handle this as far as sewer use fees? If it's an accessory unit, would they be charged like a 2-family, 2 units, or would they only pay for 1 sewer use fee?
Well, your sewer use is based on your water usage.
No.
No,
It's not?
No,
No.
we haven't got there yet.
it's down the
It's
road.
it's a flat fee based on per unit.
Per unit. So
One-
one family
Ones,
pays,
twos, and threes.
Be on the
Yep.
unit.
it would be under a unit.
Yeah.
So would the single family still be considered the single family and the other one be considered a unit, or would it be considered just like a
Well, it's an
2-family?
accessory dwelling unit, so it's a
It'd be
separate
2
unit.
units, so they pay what
For
a 2
purposes
Be a
of-
separate fee.
Well,
For purposes of the sewer use fee.
you own a 1-family now, you pay $466. You own a 2-family, you pay $299 per unit. So if you have a 1-family with an accessory unit, are you gonna pay still the $466? Or now you're considering that a 2-family where you pay $299 per unit? Is my question.
299 times.
So now it's a 2-family.
Correct.
Yeah, in essence.
For purposes of the sewer use fee.
Okay.
All right, we're moving on to what, number 5? Oh, Mr. Trolley.
This might
go
be
ahead.
more appropriate for Ms. Flanagan, so I'll hold off this question. I apologize.
Okay, we can always go back to Mr. DeSisto,
Yeah,
or he will join her.
right.
Number 5. Potential impacts of additional residential density.
Yes. That was a concern that was brought up at the planning board, particularly for those areas of the town that don't have water and sewer service. And the question is whether or not ADUs could be banned in those areas, which the answer is no under the state statute. But the real question is whether or not the town will be able to handle that. What happens if someone who proposes an ADU can't show that there's sufficient water on the site or sufficient area for wastewater disposal? To me, the answer is you can't build.
Well,
You have-
that's regulated by the building code.
That's-
You have to show you have adequate waste disposal for the, they call them outs now, right? Instead of
Yes.
ISDS outs. And the well, you've got to show you it's got the capacity gallons per minute. That's
Yes.
required under the building code.
Correct. So notwithstanding, the state statute in this ordinance, if there isn't sufficient utilities there, water and wastewater, no ADU.
I was, if I may, Mr. President.
Yes, please.
So if we go to new section 32-133C, I attempted to cover that when it says it says no additional infrastructure improvements in connection with the ADU, including but not limited to separate water or sewer service lines or expanded septic system, shall be required unless such improvements and or modifications are required by an applicable state agency for compliance under state law or regulation, or to comply with building code requirements or address capacity or upgrades necessary to accommodate the ADU. So in putting that in, my expectation was that would cover basically to Wisset Point, those issues that we have with water and sewer out there. If the solicitor does not feel, and if the planning board does not feel that those are acceptable, I'm more than willing to strengthen that. But that was my intent by putting it in there to ensure that that no ADU could go in an area that it did not really realistically belong in because it didn't have access to necessary infrastructure.
Language is appropriate and it's also governed by the state building code.
Could we actually, what Derek just read, it didn't, it says water lines. You specifically called out septic system capacity. Could we add well capacity or
I'd be more than happy to add that.
potable water capacity to that?
I think that's an excellent catch. Thank you.
I'm a little confused. If this is a state statute, why are we making changes to it?
So the state statute functions as a ceiling or a floor. It depends. So we can't go below it. So for example, with some of these requirements about space, we can't say that you can have an ADU under 400 square feet. We couldn't have that, but we could say anywhere above that. Likewise, with parking, we couldn't say that you can have more than one unit of parking per bedroom, but we could say you could have less, which is in fact what we have done. So it gives us some wiggle room, the state statute.
Makes sense.
And I have to say that the ordinance that you have before you and the recommendations you have from the planning board are all within the parameters of the Enabling Act.
Yeah, and let the public be, hear this. This is the state telling us how they've changed our local, in my opinion, how they've changed our local zoning and planning process, and the areas in town that we've tried hard to either change one way or the other are now, we're being told by the state, this is how you have to do it. No, this is how it can be done.
That you have to do at least this.
This is how
Yeah.
it can be done.
Or no more.
Yeah.
And the same thing with, and this is the strangest one to me, when they went into the manufacturing and all of those other areas that historically we've created zoning to keep residential use out of commercial. And I know of properties on Water Street that prior to this date would never have been able to put a residence in. They have a residence because a commercial use left. And that other, it's already slipped my mind. What do you call it? The
Adaptive reuse.
adaptive reuse. And now we worked so hard on commercial zoning on Water Street, on the Western Shore. And I could not believe what I've heard and what I've seen. There's housing allowed. And it's being done by our representatives.
It's being tweaked even more. There's two proposed Senate bills, at least, that affect for the ADUs. One of them is to the maximum size to 900 for a 1 square foot, for a 1 bedroom, 1,000 square foot for a 2 bedroom. And there's one that I actually like. You can't use the ADU. There's a proposal that you cannot use the ADU law if you have not owned the property for a minimum of 5 years, which I like that because you're not gonna have somebody fly in, a flipper come in. It's not passed yet, it's just
So Anthony,
proposed.
to stick to our agenda, how do those concerns work in cooperation with what we're discussing tonight? Could we continue to expand on our local capabilities?
If there are additional changes to the ADU law, it'll happen later on
Yeah.
in this year. So I think you have to go with what you have now, and if there's changes, then you're gonna have to modify the ordinance.
Okay. A bit of a rescue attempt. Ms. Flanagan, please help us understand the important process that's in front of us tonight, and let us know who you are and
Jenny Flanagan, 46 Washington Street, and I'm on the planning board and provided many of the comments that Tony addressed here. Getting back to,
are we starting with number one?
well, no, I just want to back up to
You can
the,
go any way you want.
yeah, I just want to back up to the question of the standards that are being put in both parts of, right now, the standards that, you know, the unit, one bedroom be up to 900 square feet only applies as written to special use permits. And I wanted to make sure all those standards apply to any ADU in town, whether it's by right or by special use permit. So that's what that
Yeah,
that
pretty-
recommended change was. I would personally, and the planning board discussed it, but didn't come up with a clear recommendation, felt it was obviously policy, that, but it's my personal opinion that in non-residential districts, that they should be by special permit. There could be all sorts of things going on with a residential property next to a commercial property that it would be wise to really consider how that dwelling unit would go in there and should be reviewed by an agency, not just by a board, not rather than just the building official. So that would be my recommendation, that in non-residential districts, it be by special permit. I also will note that the use table doesn't include the rural residential district. There's a whole separate section of the ordinance that has the rural business district, North Market Street. And so I would also recommend that it be by special permit in that district as well. And I don't know why the rural business zone is not in the use table. Oh, and then the parking. I live in the downtown village district here. I got lots of parking on my site. I can park 6 cars on my property, which is a lot in my neighborhood. All the houses around me have fewer parking spaces than would be required if they were building new today. And some have no parking at all. So the idea of allowing an ADU to have one parking space per unit rather than per bedroom feels uncomfortable to me on what's going on, at least in the very dense districts of town. Maybe in other districts where if someone puts in a 2-bedroom ADU, but they really only expect to need 1 car, fine. But areas of town where we have parking issues that are talked about a lot before this council, I would encourage you to think about 1 parking space per bedroom, not per dwelling unit. I was looking at the zoning ordinance and it says 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit, not 1. Okay. So that's what's in the ordinance right now. It's
Okay.
2 per unit for new units. There are other, there's also the special district in town, which covers 2 parcels in town. I don't know whether you even want to address those. Those cover the mill, on Medicom Avenue, and it also covers Water Rower. So I don't know whether you want to even address ADUs on those 2 parcels. So that's all I got.
Well,
I have a legal question for Anthony that
Oh.
she just
go ahead,
made me
Mr.
think of.
Hanley.
The village business, the waterfront district and the rural business both allow residential by right. Would they be classified as residential under the State Enabling Act?
Yes,
Okay, so whether or not, so whatever we put in there, it doesn't matter because the state law says we have to allow it in those districts.
because it's residential
Because
by right.
residential is allowed by right in those districts, so you could pretty much take everything out of that part right there, except for the B and the M, and I don't think.
I thought the
Red-
overlay district separated parts of the Water Street.
It may, but basically the whole point of that is any district that residential is allowed by right,
Mm-hmm.
I believe by state law, an ADU would be allowed. If you allow the use that they say, only in residential districts, if residential is allowed, guess what? That's a residential district. I don't know if the business district allows residential or not, but I know waterfront does and village business does and the rural business does. So those would all, no matter, those would have to be P with the asterisk if we go that way, because because residential is permitted by right there.
Sorry, I had one
So
other.
we don't have a true industrial manufacturing area. Everything seems Warren's mixed use, no matter how you look at it, especially now more than ever with this.
Yeah, so wherever residential is permitted, I believe that the state law is saying we have to permit ADUs in all of those zones. If you allow residential as a permitted use, then you have to allow the ADU as a permitted use as well.
Mr. Trolley, do you,
I concur with that. I do think that we can still require a special use permit for the business and manufacturing, the B&M, but we cannot for any zone that allows residential uses by right. So village business, waterfront, and so on would be, and I do apologize when I was drafting this if I omitted the rural business district.
It's not in the table.
But it should have been included and I neglected to do that. So thank you for pointing that out.
Mr. Trolley, can you just once on the record, let everyone know why you know of it and that you know and what you do?
So I know some of these things because I'm an attorney and I have the great privilege of working at the State House where I get to work on many policy issues, including housing. And I think that in Warren, especially accessory dwelling units, we're very built up in Warren. We have some rural areas, but we want to try to keep them rural. So if we want to have new housing, we have to be creative. And ADUs, in my opinion, it's a good way to bridge the gap because I think a lot of people don't like 200 units in one location, but they don't mind 200 units in 200 locations. And so I put this forward as trying to solve this housing crisis that we have, because frankly, $500,000 is the average price of a home in Warren, and I'll never be able to afford that. And I don't think a lot of the folks in this audience will be able to afford that either. So I'm hoping that this helps ease that pressure on hardworking folks like ourselves.
That's why he has the knowledge he has.
I just want to mention one other thing regarding Teresa Point in particular. The planning board expressed concern about the fact that most of the houses down at the point there are on a shared well system that already is at capacity, and adding more units to that system is problematic, and suggested that one possibility would be to create a special district around that would address the water issues for that neighborhood. It may be by adding well water to the standard may address some of that concern.
I've heard rumor that there are efforts at the State House to get funds to bring water to the point. So
But anyway.
it seems like
that's not the
everybody
place
wants to
right now.
build everywhere.
So I just wanted to add that was one other comment.
Oh, yeah, please.
I have a question.
Mr. Tromley.
So on the issue of the water, do you feel that section that I pointed out, that section C, it deals, because, and I can call up the building inspector too. I'm curious how it would be ruled, because I think the way I intended is to say, if you're in the twisted area, or if you're in an area where there's no water or sewer connection, you essentially cannot have an ADU unless you build out. Do you feel that that is how it is written currently? I know that Mr. Councilman Hanley added the well water element to it.
And the question that I asked Mr. DeSisto at the planning board meeting was, if they don't have capacity, if they have a 3-bedroom septic and they want to put in an ADU and they're not taking a bedroom out of the house,
Right.
they've got to upgrade their septic if they want that ADU.
And
that's
Cisco,
what,
is that you're holding in that case?
that's what you said would be the case, correct?
I'm sorry, I was just taking a look at the use table. Please repeat the question.
That if they have a 3-bedroom septic permit and they have a 3-bedroom house and they want to add an ADU, they would either have to take a bedroom out of the house or upgrade the septic to be able to permit that ADU. Is that correct?
Yes, under the state building code.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
And I think with the water, some of them have private wells, which would be a letter from a well company saying what their gallons per minute, but for that shared system there, they would have, I would say they would need to get a letter from whoever is running that system. I'm sure they have a hierarchy there, a committee or something.
I think
They would have to provide the building official a letter saying, we have the capacity to add one more bedroom to our system, and they would need to do that every time an ADU came up.
All right,
And just for, I'm sorry, just for
No,
clarification
please.
purposes, under section 32-47, single-family dwelling is permitted by right in all of the R zones, the village business zone, but not the business zone, but in the waterfront business zone too. Those are the,
Okay.
those are the permitted uses.
So those, yeah, so those we cannot say no to.
even the waterfront.
Yep.
So if I may make a
Go
few
right ahead.
amendments to this.
Please.
So in the use table, changing where it is under accessory dwelling unit with the asterisk, changing in the column marked B from a P to an S. And then the same change in the column that is labeled M, representing the business and manufacturing districts. So those would both be going from Ps to Ss.
Okay, is it a P in the other ones, Derek?
It is a P consistently throughout, yes.
Okay.
So can I do that now by vote?
I think we can.
You can, but does that also include putting an asterisk next to each P?
Just to alert everybody to it. I don't have a problem with that.
Well, isn't there an asterisk at accessory dwelling unit? Is that sufficient or is that not sufficient?
Ordinarily, I'd say yes, but there was
Very
some
well.
confusion in the planning board, so I think a belt and suspenders approach is the best.
Or, yeah, how
I
about
agree
a
on-
note? Instead of an asterisk, in Pawtucket, we have, on the use tables, we'll have a note in there, like note 1. I think it goes up to like 7, and then you look at the bottom of the page and it says, it's, ADU requirements must be met, or something like that.
However you want it.
What do you think is needed? What's easier to do?
The asterisk.
Okay.
All right, so let's do that now, just for housekeeping purposes. Mr. Tromley,
So, yes, so the change is changing the P to an S in the column B and column M for accessory dwelling units, and then adding an asterisk for every P in that section.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes,
In this document, and I'm looking at it online and I don't have the entire, so I don't have the entire thing here. How often are is there a key given that explains to maybe a first-time reader of this kind of information?
This is,
What an S means,
Yeah.
what a P means, and for all of the other charts, how often is that information included? Because it's not here anywhere.
I can say when I was drafting it, it was in one section that is either directly above or directly below it, the key. And that is, to my knowledge, the only place that it appears in the entire code that we have.
Okay.
so you want that
It would
increased?
be helpful for each section, each time you start a new section, to just have a key, because you don't want to be scrolling up and down or flipping through pages, just to give the reader all the information they need to understand what they're reading.
Yeah.
And
At the very least, I think we could put a key in the actual article for accessory dwelling unit
Yeah.
itself.
All right, so that,
that would also, pardon me, that would also include, well,
Mr. DeSisto, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Kerry, I'm sorry. Section 32-45, interpretation
There it is.
of the zoning use table. And under that section, the P, the S, and in subsection C, where no letter appears, the use is not permitted. P stands for the use is permitted in the designated zoning district. S, the use is permitted only by special use permit. So it already has its own section in there.
I think what she's also referring to is that explain what the R40, R20, and so on, the VW and whatnot, which I believe is also in that section, but I think she just wants that it appears more frequently.
to each,
That's in section 32-42.
42.
it explains each zoning district, starting with R40 and going on to the all of them.
Okay.
It's close.
Isn't it up to the reader's responsibility to know what they're looking at?
Should be.
I think, Kerry, that's what it comes down to.
You know what?
Legal
It
document.
was always better when there was a book.
Yeah.
Sometimes what happens, you go right to your section on the computer and you don't see the other section.
Yeah,
That might be it.
okay.
So,
So I'm gonna, go ahead, Mr.
Just
I'm
real
trying to
quick.
wrap this into.
well, that's fine, but we talked
Go
about the
ahead.
rural business, we talked about it not being on the table. Should we add it on the table and put a P next to it with an asterisk?
That is a good question.
Ms. Flanagan,
As I understand it, the rural business district was written as a very special thing. And under the comprehensive plan that we're now going to be implementing, the rural business district is going to be reworked substantially, I believe, as part of the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. And through that, it will, whatever happens, it will also be added to the table.
so you mean our newly
The
adopted
comprehensive plan.
is,
One of the things that addresses is the rural business district.
and that's what you're working on.
And so rather than address that issue now and why it's not on the table, I'd rather deal with it. I asked Allison that and she said it's a separate thing and we'll deal with it when we deal with it.
Oh, but
Through the-
the issue is, like John said, there's a lot of one-family homes in that district,
Well,
so.
there needs to be something added to that part of the ordinance. So are you looking that up right now?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so yes, you're
For
right.
some reason, it just doesn't show up in the use table.
Right.
Maybe that is why I missed it.
All right, Mr. DeSisto, you look at that. I'm gonna, even though it's not a public hearing, I'm gonna ask anybody in the public, any comments, questions? Are you just all here for a different agenda item? Okay,
I think we could, Anthony, could we just do that with down at where we put instead of creating a whole column right now, could we just where the asterisk is, say rural business is permitted as well?
You could, yes.
That way it solves it until we get to the
Yeah.
to the rewrite of the zoning
Correct.
ordinance and we add the line, but we add that to the
That
table.
works for me.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
So
Sorry, if I may make another motion.
go right ahead.
I'll also make a motion to incorporate the definition of accessory dwelling unit as defined in
45-24-31 subsection 2.
thank you, Mr. DeSisto, as he just stated, and incorporate that into, I believe, section 32-130.
Correct.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I,
Now I want to wrap up all that we've discussed. Yep. Ms. Cronin,
I was just
go
gonna
right
say,
ahead and
when we're done deciding on how everything is and we're cleaning up all of the language for the final copy, if we could just make sure that there is no, that we neutralize any use of gender in here. There's one thing in here that says his heir. So if we can just
Okay.
search for that, get rid of the his, hers and do there.
It's fine. And then I think the recommendation 3, I think that's the parking space one. I feel personally 1 parking space per unit.
well,
Makes-
we're just, excuse me, we're going to now go down.
Oh, I'm
those,
sorry. Go ahead.
And then we'll have discussion.
I think we
individually.
are on number 3 now.
Well, I was
Yeah.
trying to make it formal, like
Okay.
we're now going to begin the process of
Apologies.
our what we've discussed this evening. You were probably on that right track. It's just I'm trying to follow as I lead this. So I'm going to rely on Mr. Hanley and Mr. Tromley to bring your motions directed in accordance with what we've discussed. My plan was to go to recommendation number 1 from the planning board.
I'll make a motion that we do incorporate in topic 1, so that the two incorporate the new definition into the old definition.
We
You
just did that.
All right,
Yeah,
yeah, so I thought we were already on number 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're on
He may
number three.
be, I'm sorry, I wasn't, because I thought I was gonna do what I'm trying to do
all right,
now. So we already did number 2 as well, the
correct.
Ps and all. All right, so number 3, please.
As Councilman Trombley was saying, basically that we have to decide if we want to apply one parking space per bedroom or one per unit. I'm comfortable with one per unit.
I concur with my colleague. I think having 2 per bedroom, it goes beyond what we require for a single family residence in these same districts. It's a little excessive, and I wouldn't agree that, especially since they have to meet the underlying requirements as we've noted. So I would prefer to keep it at 1 per unit.
I'll make a motion that we keep it one additional required space for the accessory dwelling unit.
I'll second that motion.
And discussion.
I heard what Ms. Flanagan said about the, downtown waterfront district fighting for parking spaces as it is. So if we just require 1 space per dwelling unit and somebody in that district adds the ADU with 2 bedrooms, a parking space should be required in certain districts or in that district per bedroom.
I agree, but what I was trying to get across was, say if you don't have any parking spaces, but you're supposed to have 2 or 3. If you want the
gets you into
ADU,
that.
you not only do you have to give us the 1 for the ADU, you got to give us the 3 you owe us. So that'll actually help relieve parking in those districts.
I think so, yeah.
So section 32-104 of the ordinance says that any building or use erected or initiated, or any building or use enlarged or extended, shall at the time of such construction or initiation, as the case may be, provide off-street parking spaces in accordance with the requirements set forth in section 32-105. That's 2 spaces for a single family dwelling.
Okay. So
Yeah.
because after we got done with that, I was gonna make a motion to have the solicitor change the parking ordinance to make sure what I'm saying is actually enforceable under the zoning ordinance.
I'll make sure that if this language needs to be changed,
Okay,
cursorily, I
right,
know. But
yeah,
if I do, then this is where the change would be made.
correct, because specifically, just to get it in the record, I'm looking to, if you can't meet the parking standards you currently have, you can't have the ADU until you meet the spaces you're required to have, plus an additional one for the ADU. That's clearly my intent of what I'm trying to do here.
I'll review it with the building official.
Although with that noted, just in addition, if they did want to do it and couldn't meet the parking requirement, they could always go before the zoning and
Correct.
planning board to get that waiver.
Get the
It's
variance.
only that as a by right use, they have to meet that one addition to what they would owe to the town. So,
So all of that language has been incorporated.
yes.
So there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we have number 5.
Number 4.
4. Oosh, a tough bunch to follow in front of me here. Go ahead, Mr. Hanley. This is the ordinance set forth a series of standards and requirements to apply when reviewing an application for ADU.
Correct, and basically, I agree with that. I think the standard should be the same, whether it's under a special use permit or a permitted use, so
I agree.
I'll make a motion that we do zone to apply the standards to both sections of to both ADU applications.
I will second that motion and note that this will give the building inspector the authority to deny an ADU by right when it doesn't have the sort of water and sewer hookup issue that we've been talking about.
Amendment to the motion?
I'll amend the motion. Yep, or whatever.
Oh, no, that wasn't an amendment. That was in
Oh, okay,
support
just
of,
clarification.
All right,
Yep.
clarity.
just an explanation.
So, and you have a second?
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And now number 5.
Number 5, Derry.
The only change I want to see is that we add water supply or potable water supply to, what line was that?
It is section 32-133C.
C, correct.
So that would be after,
After system capacity, potable water supply.
yes. I'll second that motion.
Discussion?
I guess my only discussion as a building official, wouldn't you have to ask
proof of that in any circumstance?
Yeah, but seeing how we're calling out sewer capacity, let's call out water capacity, you
Yeah.
know? As Anthony says, suspenders and a belt.
Okay, discussion closed. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Flanagan.
John.
Thank you all for sitting through this.
We go.
Next, we have
One per unit, not
page 4 of your agenda.
You could get a special use. If you get a variance.
This is ordinance 2, chapter 2, article 3, division 1, town manager, section 2-61, town manager, budget. This is the second reading. These are additions we've added to the responsibility of the manager in the budget process. And they're as followed, and they're straightforward. 2 years of budgeted versus actual expenses and revenues. Current year to date actuals with estimates for expected amount with explanations if greater than a 5% variance. New budget amounts to have explanations if there is a 5% variance. Review of all town fees and fines. Review of debt service. Review of all special revenue funds. A 5-year capital plan. This is open for discussion.
Joe.
Mr.
Just
Grego.
two things. So Tony, when you put it together here, you were missing one part, which was a new budget amount to have explanation if there is a 5% variance.
That's, I didn't put it together, but you're correct.
So you could add that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, as long as it's on the agenda, correct?
You could, yeah.
Well, yeah,
you
this is
can add it
second
to
reader.
this.
We can add it.
So long as when the ordinance is to be approved, that amendment is added.
Okay, and then the second thing.
Wait, I didn't catch what you said.
So on the agenda, on this paper that Tony put together for us,
Oh,
it was
yeah, all
missing
right.
that.
Oh, okay.
And then the second thing,
But how is that, how, I read it all. How is that different than what we have listed?
It's in the ordinance, but it's not on the agenda. Is that?
no,
what-
it's on the agenda, but it's not in the order.
Not in the ordinance.
Right, so it's in
Oh.
it's on the agenda, so it's open for discussion and action.
Correct.
So we just,
That's correct.
so our language when passing, Louis, is Mr. Rego is to just add that language. And we can do it right now if you want.
Okay, I want to add that language.
So in the form of a motion, please say it again.
I want to add new budget amount to have explanation if there is a 5% variance.
I will second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Now I want to change one other thing, Joe, if that's okay.
Please.
On both those variances, I had plugged in 5%, but after thinking about it, and we're supposed to cap things out at 4%, I would say that we should change both of those to 4%. So when we're doing the budget, we stay within that 4%.
Okay.
And I put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Can I just ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Subsection B on 261. The copy I have in front of me is for the remainder of the fiscal year with an explanation if a 5% or greater variance from the budgeted amount is anticipated.
I think that covers what we just changed.
It says new budget amounts to have explanations if there is a 5% variance. I thought it. I
And
mean,
B, yeah, that B does say if there's 5%.
Wait a minute, I'm a
variance.
little confused, Tony, because you kind of changed the wording. You report the actual amount of revenue collected and the amount of the actual paid expenses, but. So B is addressing your current budget for the first 6 months. So what you should add in there, new budget amount. So this would be for a new budget amount.
Oh, so if the proposed budget is 5% more than last year's budget, you want an
An
explanation?
explanation, yeah, and I
Okay.
changed it to 4%.
Is that what this says?
No,
No.
so it would be a change.
Well, it'd be changed to what we have, it would be what's on the agenda, but not what you have on this form here, Tony.
So is the
Correct.
language that we just changed accurate to what you're looking for?
We just need to change the 5 to a 4%.
All right, so why don't you, what is it?
All right, I'll-
Rescind the motion?
I just made the motion, yeah.
Right, but we voted on it and
Yeah,
passed it.
so I'll make a motion, we change the two 5% figures that represent the variance in the budget, the new budgeted item and the anticipated overdraft, change it from 5% to 4% in both sections.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And that overwrites the.
Now make a motion, I'll make a motion, we accept the second reading and pass chapter 2, article 3, division town manager budget presentation, second reading.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving along. Ordinance 3, offenses and miscellaneous provisions, Article 1, Section 13-1, hunting prohibited exception. The amendment to this ordinance will allow for bow and arrow hunting as well as nuisance permits. And this is the second reading. And I think we have guests from DEM here. Is that correct? Mr. DeSisto, you want them first, or do you want to give an introduction?
I'll give a quick introduction. I think the representatives from the DEM are really here to answer questions that the council or anybody else may have. This ordinance would change your current ordinance on hunting. You have that the landowner in Warren possessing 3 or more acres of the designees in accordance with state laws may engage in archery hunting. And it also allows for nuisance permits to reduce deer abundance and associated negative impacts. Hunting of deer by landowners or their designees upon their property in accordance with state laws, provide that such landowners may have been granted authority by the state or its subsidiaries to conduct such activities shall be permitted. Previously, your ordinance did not allow hunting at all in the town. I'm happy to see that the DEM personnel is here because they can explain to you what the state laws are on this probably better than anyone else. Gentlemen?
Thank you.
Good evening.
My name is Dylan Ferrara. I'm with Rhode Island Division of Fish and Wildlife.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
So as you can probably imagine, we've had a request from the public, certain members of the public, to allow deer hunting. We've also had the opportunity to realize that there was a little bit of a difference between our ordinance on discharging of firearms and the ability to carry out a nuisance permit, which the state allowed the use of firearms. So we've tried to make proper amendments to allow the nuisance permit with a firearm, shotgun. And we've also added in the opportunity for the residents to bow hunt. And we have members of the public here that have spoken on the issue, and I'm glad you came down. I'm going to allow the public to take advantage of this resource that's here with us this evening. Are there any questions that you would like to put straight to the gentlemen who are here this evening representing DEM? Could you please come on down to the microphone? You can sit right in the front row if you want.
Yeah.
And easy access to answer the questions. Good evening.
Good evening, Barbara Dobbin, 7 Almeida Drive. It's a Laurel Park area of Warren. And my house borders a plot of woods. It's about 3+ acres. And it's surrounded on 3 sides by about maybe 15 houses, single-family homes. And on one side with an apartment building that I'm guessing has maybe 30 apartments. You could stand on one side of this lot and shoot an arrow into my backyard. Or you could go into the middle of that lot and shoot an arrow to the opposite side of my street or any one of the streets that surround this piece of land. We have deer there all the time. And yeah, I'm sure they're a nuisance to a lot of people, but we also have human beings, dogs, cats, children.
That's a great point.
So I'm very, very concerned about this. I don't know what the restrictions would be, and I don't know if this is the only 3-acre plot in Warren that's surrounded by houses. So that's where I would like some clarification.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that forward because we want to make sure people aren't hunting in your neighborhood, I don't think.
So 2 things. Per state law, hunters have to have annual written permission to deer hunt on private property. So if somebody wants to hunt on any piece of property, they need written permission from that property owner. In terms of distances from occupied dwellings, hunter has to be within or exceeding 200 feet from that occupiable dwelling. So if there's a house anywhere, that hunter has to be within or has to be past 200 feet of that house. In order to be closer, you'd have to get written permission annually to be closer.
So would the description of this 3.5 acre parcel in the middle of a residential neighborhood bordering housing, I believe, right, Ms. Dobbin? So all four sides, there's a house. Does that make that, what do they move in 200 feet and then still can hunt, or that
Correct.
neutralizes that?
Yep. So as long as they're 200 feet or more away from any occupiable dwelling, they're legally able to hunt, which is common across the state.
Kind of a long way, yeah.
May I ask a question for Ms. Dobbin?
Yes.
Ms. Dobbin, do you know who owns that? I know Laurel Park very well. Do you know, is that privately owned?
Yes, privately owned. I
Please,
don't have
but-
any aspersions on the.
Please come to the mic if he's directing an answer that you, I mean, a question that you want to answer.
Yeah, I don't want to cast any aspersions on the owner. He may not have any interest in hunting at all, but of course the property could change hands, and so.
I mean, it's an interesting scenario. that
Yeah,
we can-
I mean, I don't know. I paced it out. I think it's about 200 paces from Laurel Lane to Alameda Drive, and I don't know, what is that? Maybe 200 yards? Not even probably.
My pace would be about a yard. Yours probably isn't.
It's a little, not quite that. Yeah. Well,
So should we up this to 4 acres? What do we?
well, I certainly would like it if you upped it to 4 acres, but nobody realized probably that this little piece of
No,
woods was there.
Your exact explanation didn't come up.
Right.
Situation didn't come up in our discussions. We were thinking more of
Like,
exquisite areas.
yeah.
I'm
Right.
gonna ask the DEM
Please,
that question.
Mr. Hanley.
How has this worked out in other communities? To the best of your knowledge, has there been any issues, or is it?
So Bristol would obviously be the newest one and the one that most resembles the town of Warren. Obviously, that's a very urban area. There's the potential to have the same situation. You have high density urban areas near wooded areas. We haven't had any safety concerns. There have been no accidents of the general public with hunters. And the result of the hunting has seen a decrease in deer vehicle collisions. So we opened the program 3 years ago. Our harvest increased. And since then, our deer vehicle collisions have begun to decrease as well. So the program is working. There's been no incidents. The thing that I get worried about when I see parcel size restrictions is that, let's say somebody has 3 acres and it abuts maybe another 10-acre piece. The thing that I like to look at is looking at the whole picture. So if someone has 2.9 acres, but they abut somebody who has 15 acres or 10 acres, then that person can no longer allow hunting on their property. So I would suggest that you would make whatever your parcel size is that you decide, if one at all, that you would have contiguous permission of those properties. Like I said, if you have a 2-acre piece and a 2-acre piece, right now, they wouldn't be able to hunt on either of those. But you may be legally able to do so outside of that 200-foot buffer from houses. The other thing that I'll mention is most of our archery hunters are hunting from elevated tree stands, so they're going to be shooting downwards. So 200, I think, is well above the safety buffer that's required. That's what we require by state law, but I think hunters even within that distance are still going to be considered safe because they're shooting downwards and at most distances no further than 50 yards, which would be 150 feet.
Right, I understand
Mass.
where you're coming from, but we're changing something that wasn't allowed in town. And we're trying to, by mandate, follow what state law requires. So this is an interesting concern and a serious concern. I mean, interesting information with serious concerns from the neighbors that didn't have this
Absolutely
around them. Mr. Tromley.
Can I ask, what is the sort of lethality or dangerousness of the arrows? Like, at what point does sort of, if someone's shooting an arrow in a direction,
Mm-hmm.
at what point, at what footage does it not become dangerous?
does it fall to earth and hurt nobody?
So that's a good question. There's no exact answer. I hate to say it depends, but it depends.
Well-
So if someone were to be in a field and they were to hold their bow at a 45-degree angle, which there's no deer in that location, that arrow is going to go much further than someone in a tree 20 feet up pointing downwards. So in most instances across the entire state, that distance is going to be within 50 yards for archery hunting.
Which,
And
yards
to
Mr.
most of the bow hunters are using crossbows anyway, aren't they?
It's about 50-50
About
between
50-50.
vertical bows and crossbows.
But these are deadly arrows that open
They are.
up a
Kills a
blood.
deer.
Yeah.
Again, I just don't want to minimalize this.
Mhm.
Because these are legitimate concerns. If we allow hunting to happen, Ms. Dobbin will have hunters in her backyard. Mr. Rego,
So this ordinance, they wouldn't have to come for the town for a permit, correct? It'd be pretty much to get a hunter's license and then.
That's correct,
Yeah.
yes.
So could we do the ordinance where it would be by permit?
it is by permit. They
But it's
would.
a state-
So there-
State permit, what
Yeah.
about town permit? Would-
So, yeah, so right now, so the state at large, in order to get a hunting license, you have to do hunter education, which is mandated. And then you have to buy a hunting license and then deer tags for deer in this case.
Mhm.
The way the town ordinance is written right now, there's no special permit. So anybody who wants to hunt private property within the town, they would go to the landowner, say, hey, can I hunt your property? They would issue them a handwritten slip and then they could hunt on that property. The way that it works in Bristol, the town properties enroll their properties in a cooperative program. So basically, anybody can go hunt those properties as well, as long as they have their hunting license. So there's no special permit issued by the town, mainly because it becomes a burdensome of paperwork.
So no other communities in Rhode Island has that?
I don't think any community is issuing permits on a town level. There are some like local land trusts that run a hunting program. But it's a lot smaller than a town at whole.
Go ahead. So-
Ms. Dobbins, and then. Ms. Harrison.
Whose responsibility is it to figure out what the footage is between where somebody could stand and shoot an arrow on a piece of property and put it into somebody's yard? Is it the individual property owners have to go run around and, make the measurements? Is it the owner of the lot? And, when I walk at Mount Hope Farm, there are signs all over the place. It says, beware, hunting going on. Who's going to do that? Are you going to hang them in our yards? Watch out. Don't go out in your backyard. This just does not seem appropriate for a congested little neighborhood like Laurel Park. It just does not make sense to allow hunting. And, if you can designate, someone to hunt on your property, what if you designate a 15-year-old kid to go hunting on your property who's learning? I can't see any way that this is not going to be dangerous.
Do you see a lot of deer down there?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Well,
Yeah.
I really think that we weren't thinking of the opportunity
Yeah.
for this to hit the middle of Laurel Park.
Yeah.
But you bring up valid to me. But can we hear from Ms. Harrison? And then we'll ask our questions.
I just want to answer a question about
Oh,
whose
please.
responsibility it is, and that would be the hunter's responsibility. So it's up to them to determine how far they are away from an occupiable dwelling. And then if they weren't doing so, you would be able to call our enforcement, separate than local police or state police. We have environmental police officers who respond to calls like that, or would respond to calls like that if
Do you have that number?
401-222-3070.
Okay.
But first, they would call the Warren Police, they would show up as well.
So I would say you always want to call the environmental police because Warren is just going to forward it to our environmental police office. 'Cause
So-
they're hunting.
You don't recommend calling the local police first?
I would say always for a hunting violation, I would always call environmental police officers. I mean, if you're calling one and the other, it takes 30 seconds to call one.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't know the number, so me, even president of the council,
911.
I would call our local,
Yeah.
and then hope for them to send them through the board. So, Mr. DeSisto.
And I'm sorry to jump ahead of Jane, but the town of Lincoln has, when you get the written permission, shall also include the expressed written consent of the landowner to allow the Lincoln Police Department to enter upon the property to determine compliance with this chapter. The landowner giving permission shall designate and mark the boundaries of the property. The hunter shall register with the Lincoln Police Department as to when and where the hunting shall take place and provide the police department with a copy of the written permission, hunting license, and proficiency certification. Hunting on town property is specifically prohibited in that town. So to address these concerns, I know the question was asked, this is one I'm familiar with on it, and of course, Mr. Sullivan is too.
All right, why can't we take a little bit more time in this process and restrict based on zoning? Just like our zoning plan can't we look at areas and not, even though the 3 acre minimum, can't we say that we don't want hunting in Laurel Park? And they say you can't hunt in town land, why can't we say?
When this was first proposed, and
Well, wait.
maybe I shouldn't.
Can we get an answer to that question first, John?
Go ahead.
Mr. Hanley?
The minimum in that town is 5 acres, so there's differences. Can you take a look at areas? I'm sure you can, but I'd like to check on that because I'm not completely certain that you can have areas where you can and you can't. I'd like to take a look.
And do we know, are there any other places in town that are similar or exactly like that?
That's
in
what I
Laurel
was,
Park?
that's what I was saying we could investigate and look at.
The biggest thing that I would hang my hat on as the whitetail deer biologist and very familiar with hunter education and all of our rules and regulations pertaining to hunting is that the 200-foot setback distance from an occupiable dwelling is what makes it safe. So the additional of a 3 acre parcel, closing certain areas, that just adds complexity and is going to reduce your efficiency of hunters being able to harvest deer. Because they're going to have to read these additional rules, go to the local police, get additional signatures, and it's going to reduce the ability of hunters to actually be out and be effective. The 200-foot setback from occupiable dwellings is the most critical thing here, and that's state law.
That's when this
Mr. Hanley?
when this was first proposed, relying heavily on the state, which I'm starting to learn to do less and less. But their requirements, I considered the 200-foot.
They can't hear you.
Oh, I'm considering the 200-foot was well established by the state. They had precedent for it. I don't ever remember hearing of anyone anywhere in the state being injured by a hunter in these areas. Deer is a problem. It's getting, I've had them in my yard and I got a fenced in yard and I live 100 feet off of Main Street and they've been jumping over my fence and, they're everywhere. I consider the 200-foot safe based on the state's requirements. I'm sure it's research. I'm sure there's a reasoning behind it. I don't know if it's how far the arrow will go. And like you said, I have hunters in my family and none of them shoot up in the air at the deer. I haven't seen a deer with wings yet. So it's either straight across or, but they sit up in tree stands, so they're shooting down. I'm comfortable with the 200-foot. Are there any records of anyone being injured by a hunter?
No, there are no records of someone being injured by an archery.
So if you were to visit the site that is being explained, let's say it's accurate.
I'm happy to do it on an aerial satellite image now. And I could measure and see like what that number actually looks like.
I think there are records. This gentleman has been before the town council, I think many times because he wanted to build an additional piece of property, an additional.
Was this George's property?
Pardon me?
George,
No, his name is
Not
Daniel Carton. 24 War Lane.
yeah, it's right across from Slick's house. I think I know the property you're talking about. It's right behind the McDougal's.
Yes.
Yeah.
The house is right in the middle of that lot.
It's at the front of his lot.
You hit the house, George, I forget George's last name.
Oh, I know.
The white house is right there, so. Right, I think that would, you then have to go 200 feet from
the
that.
200 feet even counts to the owner's house too.
That's what I mean, so now you're, I know what we're talking about now.
Oh,
Well, Miss Harrington, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, she's next. I saw her.
Okay. So by me looking at this, and again, I'm just going off satellite imagery. I don't know exactly the delineations of Laurel Park. I don't see anywhere that's within 200 feet. So there would be no hunting here by state law.
That's good to know.
Somebody could go out in the marsh and deer hunt, but that's pretty unlikely.
Right.
And it's also, you'd have to get permission. I see the land conservation owns some, and there's a bunch of other private parcels.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't think that would be, it's a large parcel, but I don't think that would, as he says. I know, but it's the 200-foot, there's the way that you explain it in that house in the middle. George Barker used to own that.
That's my bar.
Miss Harrison, do you still have your hand up?
First, I'd like to clarify. Jane Harrison, 17 Chase Avenue. First, I'd like to clarify, there are two sections to the ordinance. One is for bow and arrow hunting, and then the nuisance permits, that allows guns.
Yes, well, the nuisance permit is permittable by the state. And and that's only on farms, and there's specific language with that. What was the obstacle to the carrying out the approval of the state permit was that the town didn't allow the shotgun.
Right.
So coming into accordance with the state law, we're allowing the nuisance permit.
And that allows guns.
A shotgun, yes.
Okay.
But on specific property,
Okay.
not the areas we're talking about now. These are farmers have to do this.
Land used primarily for agricultural purposes.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, for the first one, which is the archery hunting, I think that I agree it should be more than 3 acres. I think 5 acres is more appropriate. And I think it should specifically say that the hunters need to be on their own property. Now, my main problem is with the term designees. And I think that that's in both the archery hunting and the regular hunting with guns. There was a time when Warren did allow hunting, and many of the property owners in my area, which is Tuisset, would allow people to come in and hunt on their property. And these people would be considered designees that the owner designated them to come. And I had 3 specific instances. One, I got up one morning, walked out on my deck, and there was a man with a gun 5 feet away from my deck on my property. He told me that one of the landowners had allowed him to come and hunt in that area. The man was ignorant of the property owner's boundaries and just felt he could hunt anywhere, anytime. The second one was there was a hunter, I'm on Chase Avenue, standing on the actual pavement on Chase Avenue, shooting into the woods, again, my property. That hunter was ignorant of state laws, but he was out there with a gun. The third one was my house has the main door on the side, the front door is on the side of the house. There's a row of bushes, and then there's my neighbor's house. And I came out one day, there was a man standing right by my front door, aiming into the bushes towards my neighbor's house. And when I went out there, he said to me, "Hey, lady, there's a raccoon in those bushes." It was my cat. He was about to shoot my cat. That man was ignorant. He just basically ignorant. He didn't care about me. He didn't care about my neighbor's children, and he didn't care about my pets. All he wanted to do was kill something. It's just, you need to take care of the word designees. In the state law, as you know, and in Bristol's law. It's bona fide residents of the state. When this was going on, the town did a survey and they discovered that most of these hunters were coming in from out of state. Most of them were from New York and New Jersey, and they had just come in to Warren to hunt. With designees, we're leaving ourselves open to that kind of a situation again. The state law says bona fide residents of this state, the residents or the residents' immediate family, so that leaves out designees, on land owned by the residents or leased by that they actually live on. And I think that if we went back with that definition, which is the same definition that's in Bristol, that we would save ourselves from having these concerns of people who are not knowledgeable about our area, just coming in and with their guns and going willy-nilly around town.
Well, the gun issue is a nuisance on the agricultural farm.
Which
Agricultural use. So
the nuisance is the deer only, as I understand it.
gun only. So the nuisance permit, which is issued by the
Right.
state, that's the only one that allows the use of a shotgun.
Okay.
And that's not really hunting. It's a strict, they don't have tags and
But it allows for landowners or their designees.
correct.
And that's what I think we should get rid of, is the term designees, so that it's landowners or their immediate family.
Suppose the landowner isn't capable, or suppose the landowner doesn't have a shotgun, but the deer are killing all of his crops. He has to designate someone.
You're not going
To solve the
You're not going
problem.
to be killing only the deer that are eating on that particular area, because deer.
Right, you're killing the deer that one.
Yeah. So another landowner who is hunting deer will probably cull the herd enough that it will affect that owner that is not
How-
able to hunt.
How long ago did you have these issues with the other people in shotguns?
Before we stopped hunting in Warren.
Do you know
What year was that?
when
You
that
remember?
was?
No, I don't know when that was.
That
We
was like-
stopped hunting in Warren.
I think that was the early
Quite
'80s.
a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the DEM, do you have anything you could help us with in the regards to the definitions of designees or?
So.
Help us
one
listen
thing I'll
us.
mention before that is just for firearms. So archery is 200 feet from occupiable dwellings. Firearms is 500.
Could you get closer to the mic?
500 feet is from, firearms is 500 feet from an occupiable dwelling. So archery is 200, firearms 500. So there is a significant difference between the two. So
Okay.
legally, they have to be further away. In addition to the mention of hunters trespassing, luckily now with iPhone technology, like the app I just pulled up, it shows all the tax parcels listed along with your location, so you can see right where you are in terms of property boundaries. Obviously, if somebody's on a front doorstep, they should have known they're trespassing, and that person, like she said, was most likely being ignorant. In terms, I don't want to touch your papers, but in terms of designees, I am not confident to speak on that right now, but basically what I would interpret from the designee right now is basically if a farmer says, I want to remove deer, I can designate anybody to come and do so. As long as they have, again, a hunting license, which requires hunter education as well.
And with the nuisance permit, that is also requires the hunting license?
Correct. Yeah, the deer damage permits, nuisance permits. Yep.
Okay, and is there the ability to restrict it to just Rhode Island residents? Do you know of that?
Not within our state law. No, that's not, or our state regulations.
State regulations. It says, any bona fide resident of this state. That's your state law. And also, it's nice that they have this 500-foot distance, assuming that people will abide by it.
Right,
You're
all of-
taking people with guns and letting them, I mean, my experience was they go where they want to go. In each instance, the hunter was, well, in two instances, the hunter was within 5 feet of my house.
Right.
And in one instance, it was down on the street next to my house. It was not.
I mean, all of your-
500 feet away.
All of your examples are blatant violations of
Correct.
several laws.
Right.
Right.
Because they were allowing designees from out of state to come in and hunt in Warren.
Well, as you appropriately mentioned or found in the state law, it says state. Oh,
It
yes,
says resident, bona fide residents of the state.
So what this is referring to is hunting on someone's own land with their license being required. So as far as I'm aware, again, I would want to double check this.
okay,
This doesn't necessarily apply to nuisance removal.
okay. So Mr. DeSisto, you'll look into that?
I'm looking at it right now.
And
Okay.
Ms.
if that's
Flanagan
the
has her
case.
hand up after you, but no, feel free to continue. I just wanted to recognize her. She keeps popping
Okay.
up her hand.
If, where was I going? Okay, if you're going to allow designees, then we should make the landowner responsible for making sure that the designees have all these licenses and have taken the appropriate courses. And if it's found that a designee has not done that, then there should be a fine for the landowner for allowing someone like that to come onto their property and hunt illegally.
I agree. Do you have a response to that? Where's the ultimate?
So I'm not an enforcement officer, so I don't want to speak on behalf of them, but as far as I'm aware of the regulations right now, that would not apply to the landowner or the farmer. That violation or the fine would go directly to the person violating.
Really?
But I don't want to confirm that. That was something I would want to confirm with enforcement.
So Mr. DeSisto, would that be, what, DEM guy?
Permitting process.
Oh, please come to the mic for the clerks as well as the viewing audience.
The permitting process for agricultural damage and using these deer damage permits goes through the Department of Agriculture, and they have a permitting process that requires they collect the information from the hunters who will be using these permits. It's different than hunting like the archery hunt.
Right, that's what I've been told.
So any
Why I keep trying to
right,
say
so
that.
an individual can go through our system and get their own hunting license, and they could be at fault for not getting the exact right thing. People that go through the permitting process to get agricultural damage permits go through our system and have people that inspect these to make sure that they have the right hunting licenses and the tags that are appropriate.
But the
It is
landowner
not-
isn't held accountable if they're,
Again, I'm not sure of that either.
okay. Mr. DeSisto, is that something we could add?
Well, if I may, just from a legal perspective, vicarious liability, I believe would apply when you're having someone come on your property and do an action. If they injure another person in the course of that action, regardless of whether it's hunting or not, they're held responsible for that person's actions legally. So I do believe that even if it's not through the DEM regulations and hunting regulations, by law, if you invite someone on your property to do an action and then they hurt someone in the course of that action, you as the owner who invited them onto that property are vicariously liable for them. In the same way that an employee or an employer is liable for an employee that commits some sort of, I hate to use this example, but with the lawsuit, the accident that happened in town that we ended up having to settle, that was on us because he was an employee, or I don't even know.
So the accountability goes to the landowner if they in writing invite somebody
Yep.
on. There is shared responsibility.
The offenses were not on the landowner who created the designees. The offenses were on my property.
Right, we're not
So that's
talking.
trespassing.
Right,
That's
so-
illegal no matter whether they have a hunting license or not.
John, let me help. So who, in your case, to use your example, if that person was a designee and that could have been proven, not only would that person have been charged as trespassing and all of the laws that went, but the designee who gave them the invitation would be also, as Mr.
Let's just
Yeah,
get
Mr.
rid
Drawling
of
said,
Yeah, and not if he went on her property. If the designee let the guy hunt on his property, but the guy leaves his property and goes and stands in her yard, it's not on the landowner, it's on the guy
No,
standing in her yard.
It depends.
he says that under the law, he's responsible in some ways for inviting them in.
Okay, so just for a quick clarification, the section 20-13-1. The language that Jane cited is correct as to residents of this state and their family members to hunt on their own land.
Right.
That's without a license. However, the state licensing scheme allows for resident permits for hunting, which is at one level of a fee, and then non-resident hunting, they pay a higher fee. Now, there's a whole statutory scheme from the state as to hunting regulations. It's found in Title 20, Chapter 13, and there's 18 different sections on it that governs hunting. So there are state regulations on there, and the difficulty is we have laws for a lot of things. You're not supposed to drive while you're drinking. People do it. So I understand that there's violations on it. And by the way, the bow is one thing, which is what the DEM person I've been talking about. If it's with a firearm, it's 500 feet.
Yes.
From a home. So there's a whole bunch of regulations on this at the state level for it. So the question becomes, if those are the state regulations which you need to adhere to, how many more regulations do you have to have here at the local level, and whether or not you even need to put in local ordinances that mimic the state law?
If I may, Mr. President, I think I
Yes,
nipped part of this in the bud. So if I'm understanding you correctly, because I didn't review that aspect of the code, the state anticipates that out of state people will be able to hunt here in Rhode Island and charges them an additional fee to do so.
That's correct, yes.
Would you say that the state has preempted our authority to limit resident in-state residents? I would say so.
Well, to me, the question is whether or not a town can enact regulations that are stricter than what the state has on this. For instance, right now in Warren, you're not allowed to hunt at all, no matter who you are.
Right.
So that's the situation that you have.
So as I see it, sorry to interrupt, but as I see it, the idea that we can, as a town, limit out-of-state hunters from being designees, we cannot do that because the state has said that they can come in and they can pay a higher fee and can hunt. So therefore, even though I understand that some folks see that as a good idea in order to control and make sure that the folks that are coming in are responsible, I don't think that under state law, we're allowed to do that in this ordinance.
Okay, I'm not going to argue the law.
Okay.
But although I would like to. What I'm just asking, why do you need designees? Bristol doesn't have designees for their hunting prohibited exception. Okay, the provision of this section shall not be operative so as to make it unlawful for a bona fide resident of the state or his immediate family to hunt, pursue, take, or kill any wild bird or animal with firearms in the town on land owned by him, leased by him, or which he is actually domiciled. They've taken the state language and put it in their ordinance.
Right, so.
I'm suggesting that we do the same thing.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna ask you to sit for a minute,
Okay,
because we don't have an answer, and Ms. Flanagan may provide information that would help us. Since we've been on your one topic, we're gonna open it up to other people.
fine.
Can I just ask? When this came up for first reading, we had more language for Bristol's. Is there something omitted from this? Because Bristol allowed the archery hunting, and there's nothing in what you're showing us from Bristol that says anything about.
Drafted. I did.
Oh, there's nothing in here that says Bristol, because I know Bristol adopted an ordinance about archery hunting, so I think there's something missing here.
No, they didn't adopt an ordinance for archery hunting. They did it through a DEM agreement. So it was a contractual, what was it, memorandum of understanding, I believe, sir?
Yep, so there wasn't a town ordinance amendment required since they only didn't allow firearms to be used. So allowing archery didn't require an amendment. So so the town of Bristol entered into an MOU, memorandum of understanding, with the Department of Environmental Management to have a cooperative hunting agreement on their town parcels.
Okay, and because I'm trying to tie in, but she's saying Bristol doesn't allow designees, but that memo of understanding that allows designees in Bristol.
I would say the designee
is the hunter
Well,
because it's the town.
I know it is because I know the person, one of the persons that hunts in Bristol, he doesn't own the land. He has permission of the owner to go on there. So technically, he's got to be the designee because it's not his family member. So I know Bristol does allow designees to hunt with bows with the owner's permission.
Correct.
All right, Ms. Flanagan. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Jenny Flanagan, I'm also on the Warren Land Trust, and the Warren Land Trust, while does not currently have a policy for hunting, we would like to explore it because the deer are a nuisance and are impacting the habitats. And so we would like to be able to contract with hunters. If we can't have designees, we wouldn't be able to hunt at all because we're not family members, we're a corporation. So I would encourage you to not eliminate our ability to hire someone to do bow hunting to control our deer population. And our properties are not classified as farms, so we wouldn't qualify for nuisance permits on many of our properties.
Thank you. Miss Harrison, are you, did you hear that?
Yes, I did. I have a feeling that I'm losing here.
Well, you're not losing. I mean, you brought a position forward.
Okay, I'll continue.
Please close it.
So if we're going to keep the designees, maybe we should have some words that specify what designees, like duly licensed designees.
They have to be
That's
by
in
state law.
That would just be.
But people don't read state law.
Well, they
But
better, or they're gonna get
someone-
arrested by the enforcement officers.
John, right.
I mean-
Let me wrap. So you have an unfortunate history with people who are breaking the law.
True.
When you look at the process we're going through, it is listed that they have to have state hunting license certification, go into the class. All of these safety procedures are built in.
I think
So-
we should have some of that as that town that you read their ordinance from.
Can I actually just throw something out, because we're talking about Bristol as much as we are. So that MOU restricts archery hunting in Bristol to a set period, September 15th through January 31st, and 4 areas: Minturn, Hopeworth, Skaters Pond, and 100 Acre Woods. I'd like to make a suggestion on this. You've got 2 parts to this ordinance. The first part is for archery hunting. Perhaps what you should do is the same MOU that Bristol has, and then you can
Designate where.
designate areas. That was your question.
Yeah.
The answer to your question is yes.
All right.
That's number 1. But number 2, for the nuisance permit for farmers, that should be segregable in the ordinance.
It is.
So that'll solve your problem, and it'll solve the farmer's problem, and it'll also address where and when you can have your archery hunting, and you can also regulate in the MOU who gets to do the archery.
Well, I'm not as concerned about the archery as I am about the guns. And if the farmers are allowed to bring people in, then we open ourselves up to that same situation where people are coming in, they don't know, they're coming from who knows where. They don't know the farmers' property boundaries. They don't know the state laws. They're just coming in to hunt. And that's what I experienced.
Right. So I want
And so we need something that will prevent that kind of a situation evolving again.
So I want to just tighten up on our Roberts rules trying to follow.
Yep.
You've had a lot of opportunity, and please, Mr. DEM, then Mr. Thibodeau.
Just want to mention, so for the MOU, those are with town-owned properties. So the state wouldn't be able to enter into an MOU with the town of Warren regarding private parcels. So the MOU would be with like all the town.
I understand that, and I'm saying that. Perfect. Because, we gotta say what the goals here are. And isn't that address what Jenny wants?
Yes.
Jenny, yeah, Jenny wants to hunt.
Yes.
Wants her, potentially.
The ability to.
LLC wants to discuss it. Mr. Thibodeau, you've been politely waiting, and I appreciate your patience.
So I'm Sean Thibodeau. I live at 79 Long Lane. I am a property owner and the next generation of farming. And I will say this. On my land, I'm not just going to let anybody in because my wife and kid also live on the land.
Right.
Family lives in the area. You're not just bringing in just anybody because you need your own safety, but it is a problem. And if the problem's not solved, I'm just going to be a dying breed that's swimming uphill.
Wait a minute, identify which problem, the deer?
The deer.
Or the bringing in people that aren't licensed?
No, but
No,
we're property owners. We're
addressing.
it's our land.
We're addressing the issue with the deer. We're figuring
Yeah.
out how to.
And I'm just going to say
safely-
this, nobody's going to come on my property and not know anything about it.
I don't even go on there without calling you.
Yeah, well, it's just the point, every square inch, if you're bringing somebody on your property, that it is a safety concern, don't get me wrong, but you are going to show every square inch.
Yep.
You're not, this sense of having these secrets and bringing in these people who you don't know, that's not going to happen, guaranteed.
Well,
The
I
way
don't-
things are these days, it just will not.
I don't want to diminish what Ms. Harrison's experience are, I believe, valid, what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we're in a tighter, better situation today than we were 30, 40 years ago. And
yeah,
we have people get caught, right?
Yep.
And, so we're not going to satisfy everybody, but thank you for, you're one of the people who brought this forward. And I appreciate it. And you see it's an effort. Mr. Trombley.
So for me, if I may explain a little bit of the rationale behind why I structured this ordinance the way I did. It's essentially the nuisance permits came about from my discussion with Sean. And that it's a very arduous and long process to be approved to hunt with a shotgun in Rhode Island. It's not very easy. And because it's not easy, only those that are going to need it the most are going to use it. But my thinking was that if you have a moderate deer problem, that especially for neighbors, especially for abutters and others, they would feel a lot more comfortable having bow and arrow hunting near their property than they would shotgun hunting. So the rationale for putting in the first part, which allows the bow and arrow hunting, is that in hopes that fewer people will try to hunt with guns in order to keep people safe and keep the deer population to a manageable level so that farmers such as Sean do not have to lose their shirt off their back, so to speak. So based on the feedback I've gotten, I'm of the opinion from a legal standpoint that we cannot say that designees have to be in-state residents or meet other sorts of requirements. But what I do think might solve part of the issue. The reason I said 3 acres in this statute was because in looking at our zoning, I think the largest residential plots that we have are 2 acres. 40,000 square feet or something of that nature.
40,000 is one.
That's a little under an acre here.
So I went to, I thought it was 2, so I went to 3 so that it wouldn't, it would only be for very large parcels and hopefully avoid those sorts of urban areas like in Laurel Park. I'm more than willing to amend that to say 4 acres, which would eliminate that particular section in Laurel Park and perhaps other sections in Warren that are potentially impacted by that. And what I'll say is that if people use this statute and abuse it, Ms. Harrington, that I'll be one of the first to try to appeal or amend it, because that's not what I want to see happen. I want to see the deer population kept to a manageable level so that our farmers can survive and that people in the community feel safe. So with that being said, if people are willing to support that, I think that would solve the problem.
Let me help a little more.
Thank
I
you.
think so. A little help's needed.
I'm all sorry.
Yeah, you're all set. And this isn't the first time. When Sean was about 6, this issue came to the council. When Sean was probably 10, this issue came to the council. And the difficulty that you describe all times pretty much just ended with we just didn't do it. One of the interesting aspects of taxation in Warren agriculturally is 5 acres.
Okay.
So in order to be considered a farm for an agricultural tax purpose, you need 5 acres. I think you can look that up, but I know I'm right.
5.
Yeah, 5 acres. So I think that could remove the possibility of anything in any neighborhood. And it's I think logical for us to look at. If you get the tax break, it's a big enough farm. It's not to say that there aren't parcels smaller than 5. They don't get the tax break. Sad for them. They also don't get people on their land hunting, but they get the benefit of the deer that all walk around. That'll be reduced. So by allowing this, hopefully that'll help the safety issues of the smaller.
But even the smaller ones could still apply for a nuisance permit.
They could.
So if they have a big
They
problem,
could,
they still have a
they're
remedy.
agricultural.
Correct.
But also the herds will be less. I mean,
Correct.
over the past 30 years, deer in Warren have changed, probably due to the amount of housing because of the ADUs.
Excuse me, I beg your pardon. It's 10 acres under 44-27-2.
10 acres. I thought 5 acres in Warren, you got a tax break. It's 5
5
acres.
acres local. It's 10 acres under the Farm Forest and Open Space Act under this statute.
All right, but I'm mirroring the 5 acres local because it's local. If you want to go to some place that's 100 acres, well, we're not searching that out.
Mr. President,
No.
I just want to say.
With that information-
Excellent suggestion, and I welcome it.
Okay, does anybody want to, is there any more discussion? Is this a public hearing?
No.
No.
I will make a motion, we change section B to say 5 acres instead of 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I will make a motion that we approve section 13-1.1 as just amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the, does that include?
includes
the
everything in
nuisance
blue.
permits? Okay,
It doesn't-
all right.
Oh, yes. Sir.
Hopefully we'll have more satisfied people than unsatisfied, but the unsatisfied people, please bring your concerns to our attention. Did we vote on that second one? Yeah, voted on both, right? So thank you. We're gonna move on.
Thank you.
Thank you, DEM guys, for coming down.
Thank you as
And,
well to all those who came and gave testimony, even if you were opposed to it, because it helped make a better ordinance.
And I'm not gonna necessarily go against the DEM guys, but I do think if anybody has a local issue, call the local police first. Don't spend the time. I mean, an emergency situation, and it will get put to the right people. Next, we have petitions. I think we have one that wasn't an asterisk.
No, we've got before through.
Yep, so B4, we have a request for a victualling license from Salsa El Patron LLC, Juan Carlos Perez. Is he here? Hi, come on down. We're gonna give you this opportunity to let us know what you're doing. Good.
I made the hot sauce and chips and helping me.
All right.
I moved to the new place.
Oh, okay, and that's down next to
Yeah,
the
139
liquor
Main
store
Street. Yeah.
and the laundromat?
Yes.
And will that be open to the public?
Yeah. No, now.
So that's just gonna be
Yeah.
where you make the product?
Yeah.
All right, do we have an action for this gentleman?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Remember my face, I'm gonna knock on the door for a taste.
Not before me.
Next, we have P5. Request for a victualling license of the Ice Cream Hut Incorporated. Cress Palmer, is Mr. Palmer here or Mrs. or who is this Cress? Hi. How are you? Good, thank you. Tell us about what you're doing.
So it's on the Warren driving range
All
on
right.
Market Street. And the owner has run it before
Mm-hmm.
as a ice cream shop, but it's a lot for him. So I'm gonna rent it from him if I
And you're
can.
taking over.
Yes.
Nice.
And we're
Any
gonna-
questions?
Motion to approve the vitrilling license for the ice cream hut.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you so much.
I'll be there for a taste as well. Next, we have request for a tattoo license transfer of location, Eclectic Body Art and Healing Studio, Crystal Santos. Hello. And you're moving to, what, 2 doors down or something?
Like 5.
5 doors down.
Yeah.
Are there any questions of the applicant?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Christie.
You won't be seeing me for a taste.
Yeah, I'm gonna, yeah.
I'm Queenish.
You don't want a Mike Tyson tattoo, Joe?
I got one. Next, we have a request for a yearly entertainment license from Arrowwood Jewelry.
Arkwood.
What is it?
Arkwood.
Oh, I don't see the arc. I look at it as an E. Sorry, typo. Is Lincoln Pollock here? How are you?
Good, how are you?
So what are you doing?
Yeah, so my name is Lincoln Pollock. I own Arkwood Jewelry on 450 Main Street. And I make and sell jewelry out of that location. And I plan to use the entertainment license to host some gallery pop-ups, some jewelry collection releases, and probably have a DJ or a small, local acoustic guitarist play and have a small gathering.
Nice. So with this license, we look to our fire chief and police chief for their guidance in what you're asking to do. And we ask them right now, any comments?
Acoustic is okay.
And you visited the location?
Contacted for.
Okay. Well, that's good news, because usually after that, we say,
Motion to approve the entertainment license for Awkward Jewelry.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next, we have permission to relocate P2 pole per customer request from the Narragansett Electric and Verizon New England, Grandview Avenue, Warren. Chief, there's no rep here, as always. Is there a rep?
No.
Can I speak out of turn?
Can I talk as,
Not on a corner, or if it is, you like it. Okay, is there a motion to grant them permission?
Second, motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving right along. One thing I'd like to, Mr. DeSisto, if there was something in correspondence that I would like to just bring to people's attention, is that allowed?
Ask that any items that any council member wishes to be discussed be removed. Then move to accept the correspondence and file it, and then discuss the item that was removed.
Okay, that's the way it
Which one do you
goes.
want out?
Water Authority.
I'll make a motion,
The report, Water Authority.
I'll make a motion, we pull out the C1 Bristol County Water Authority report and receive and file the rest of the
No,
correspondence.
sorry, I wasn't done. And the Harbor Management Commission as well.
Okay, I'd also Bristol County Water Authority correspondence and the Harbor Management Commission and receive and file the rest of the correspondence.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now I can discuss those?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention that in the Water Authority's report, they're going to be tearing down the 2 buildings. And they're going to be building their new facility. They will be leaving the building closest to the reservoir. Anybody else read the report?
I
I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention because there was a while back where the project opened up the opportunity for those buildings not to be torn down. And they went out for MOU, they looked, they tried a lot of
Nobody was
stuff. And
interested, yeah.
well, interestingly enough, I'm not sure people looked at it as housing, although it was a use,
I think the biggest turnoff is the conditions of the building.
probably. But I just wanted generally to just let the public know that was an issue that was rather important at the time and it faded away.
What I read was there was gonna be a rate increase. I didn't get to that part of knocking.
I know, that's why I love you. You looked at the numbers. Well, that, again, not open for discussion, just more information. Next, for information as well, I wanted to point out that we have an interim DPW director. Ms. Hunt. This is her first official meeting in that position, and in the Harbor Commission's report, we were earlier enlightened by Mr. Hunt, cousin, that brought to the attention of the public rights of way granite markers. I want to just make sure, if they haven't brought this to your attention, you probably have the money to, or the capabilities. I would look into that. I'm not sure that those weren't put in because of money. So I just think that it's an opportunity for a new person in a new seat to look at the requests and locations. Possibly, I hope that you're the go-getter. I know you are. That could get, if not fully done, partially done, but it would be a great asset to mark the public right-of-ways and always move forward if there's additional work. So that's just two things I pulled out of the reports, and I appreciate the reports. We appreciate the work they're doing, and a lot of times we don't read the reports, and we should, and glad I did this time. So I hope it's hitting favorable ears. Moving on. Old business. Discussion and action regarding advertisements for the appointment of Planning Board and Zoning Board of Review members. Mr. DeSisto, can you bring this all back to where we want it to be in a quick explanation?
You may remember some months ago that we discussed having a combined land use office and a combined zoning and planning board, which is authorized by state statute. We've run into some unanticipated issues as we've tried to come up with a plan to present to the council. It's going to take some time, I think, to iron everything out. And in the meantime, there has been some resignations, as you know, off of both boards, and to make sure that they properly function, I think you need to advertise at this time for both boards.
Didn't we do that previously in the meeting, all the resignations? Part of the motion was to advertise for those positions.
You did, but it's on the, this is an item on the agenda. That's why I'm bringing
Okay,
it
I'll
up.
make a motion. We advertise for all the openings on the zoning and planning board.
Thank you. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, it's a little the same but different. We were making the motions for a different reason.
Okay.
This reason, we're just closing officially our, maybe not officially, we're closing looking into the
unification of the
combination.
board.
And
Right.
because of that, we held off on additional appointments. So that's what this is really addressing, even though the previous motion would have addressed it as well. So thank you. Did we just vote?
We did.
Thank you. New business, discussion and action regarding the following. Enforcement of parking bans during snow emergencies. This was brought up by Councilman Hanley. We're gonna let Ms. Hunt and the chief answer questions and listen to what you want to enlighten us all
The
with.
reason I put this on the agenda is I've noticed the past couple of years, I want to say about 5 years ago, we got a few snowstorms. And we put a parking ban in effect and nobody paid attention. So the police went up and down the streets with the PA system telling everybody, hey, there's the parking ban, come out and move your car, blah, 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 blah. A lot of the people came out, the ones that didn't got ticketed and towed. So up until this year, whenever there was a parking ban, people would actually move their cars. These past couple of storms we got, not one car on my street was moved. So the plow comes around, has to go around the car and then go back in. So now you're losing at least 2 spots. And these people that didn't get off the street back their car up into the spots that's clean. So now you lose 3 parking spots. I'm looking for, if it's deemed necessary for a parking ban, I'm looking for it actually to be, I don't want to say enforced because that's the bad term, but I want it to be, if we do get snow and the people don't move their cars, yeah, I actually want them at least ticketed. Let the DPW director and the chief determine which ones are in extremely critical or hazardous positions and have those towed. But anybody that doesn't move their car during a parking ban, I want to see them get ticketed so that we'll get back in that habit of when there is a parking ban, you move your car. You don't wait till you wake up in the morning to see if it actually snowed, because a lot of times the ones you expect, we don't get. The ones you don't expect, we get buried.
Good point. I brought this up, spoke to both. If they would, if you feel you'd like to let us know the process that you go through, come to the mic. I know you don't like the mic, but you look good tonight. Gotta give you that.
Joe, I was gonna also put this on the agenda. He beat me to the punch. As far as I
usually do.
Yeah. But anyways, as far as I'm concerned, if it's a parking ban, means you can't have any cars on the road. So there should be no question about it. That's my.
But they do have an explanation and a method that I think is worth listening to.
Yeah, so usually the procedure is we get together and we make a determination when to put the parking ban and how long the parking ban is. When when it snows and there is snow on the road, we do go around and we tag all the vehicles that are on the road. And then after that, the DPW director, while they're plowing, they call and say, we're doing such and such a street, there's vehicles on the road, we would like them removed. And at that time, we would send out the tow trucks to remove. So the towing is usually her decision, or the DPW director, and the tagging is mine.
And we've reviewed with the crew when they're out plowing, they'll call in which vehicles need to be towed.
Okay.
We'll notify the department and the towing will be enforced.
Chief, the last two storms, nobody was ticketed on my street.
Yeah, I don't remember too. The last one we had was, we kind of used some discretion because we put the parking ban like at 4 o'clock, 4:30. And usually we like to give the community a little bit more notice. So that was one of the times that we spoke with Mr. Wheeler, and we did use some discretion on the last one we did. No doubt about it.
So in the future, we say there's a parking ban, it should be banned.
Everybody's been warned, so.
Okay. And the other question I have, what's the ticket for not parking?
It's 25 for snow.
Possibly in budget time, we may want to bump that up a little bit.
And
Yeah.
125 for a tow.
And 125 for the tow. So yeah, let's possibly when we get into budget time, we might want to increase that $25 fee.
Well, if you've been paying attention, we're gonna be looking at all fees and fines. It's part of an ordinance. We just.
Thank you for
Just throw it out there.
thank you for letting us know the process. I was looking into using the big horn that we have and maybe thinking of like 3 blasts for, a minute. Really?
Everybody's gonna think it's 3 o'clock,
Right?
Joe.
Or the end of the world. But I've been told that after the $500,000 and 5 years it took to get that thing,
But like I said, the last.
we can't just beat it
Yeah.
anytime we want.
Five years ago, there was a big push, and then for like 5 years, everybody, when they heard there was a parking ban, they were out there moving
Oh, I
their
know.
cars.
It's
It's
like
just nobody even blinks anymore.
I don't care.
But you know what? When they used to use the sirens and a few flashing lights, I think it used to work very well.
We're gonna use the sirens and the flashing lights again, but we can't use my big horn.
Nope.
So next, so no action on that. We just brought it. to
No,
our
it was
attention.
just discussion. Yep.
Thank you. Ms. Cronin has snow removal policies regarding sidewalks.
Yeah, I mean, just after the last snow, just turns out that not everybody shovels their sidewalks consistently and adequately. And we received a pretty compelling letter from a member of the public who has issues with, overly burdensome enforcement for people who are disabled or unable to shovel in front of their homes, and that's understandable. I would hope that, neighbors would help each other out, but there are certain instances, I'm on Water Street and I live a block away, where there are certain homes where people just aren't shoveling their snow at all. And I think people just need to be more mindful of it. And when it becomes really dangerous, you can't walk on the sidewalks, you have to walk in the street because the sidewalks are so full of snow. We need to take a little action. The removal of ice from the sidewalks, and this was also sort of referred to in this community member's letter, with downspouts that are going out onto to sidewalks, and this is addressed and been talked about multiple times. We need to take note and hold the property owners accountable, because there are very specific places where water is being shot out onto a sidewalk in specific spots that have little valleys or whatever, and they just turn into skating rinks. And so they're just super dangerous and, you know, potential for slip and fall and injury is high. So people who own properties who have that need to redirect where the water is going. And we maybe need to take a little account. I can name a few.
The crosswalk right across the street in front of Delecta's is permanently being fed water from the roof from Coffee Depot to the new meatball pizza place. That one's just, it drips for forever. And if it thaws, it drips. And when it freezes, it's in the actual crosswalk. It's deadly. Wanted to help you out with that.
Yeah, that's one. You know, there's
They exist.
They
So
exist.
should we, can I help?
Yes, please.
Should we invite people to call the building official to locate these properties?
Well, you
Can
know,
I tell you who enforces it in the city?
Well, yeah, I'm asking, we can't just let these.
It's my department that enforces it in the city of Pawtucket. It's code enforcement.
All right, so,
But I have 3 code inspectors.
well, like the
Well-
one I'm telling you, it's right there, he could go and,
the Joey.
Mr. Rigo.
Yeah, so, I clean a lot of snow when it snows.
Yep,
The problem with snows in areas like town of Warren, the sidewalks are right on the street. So when they're plowing the snow, after you clean the sidewalk, that snow goes back on the sidewalk. It becomes an issue.
right.
All right. That's the first thing. And sometimes snow is unmanageable. Even with a snowblower, it just frozen and you can't do anything about it.
Agreed.
But I think there are some things that we could do. When the sander goes out, the sander usually goes in the middle of the street. If you have the sander do 2 passes and catch the sidewalk on both sides, that would help with the ice.
If it's not, if it's
So I think there are things that we can do.
If there's some
a
creative,
snowbank could stop
And
it.
in Bristol, I know they have a plow that goes around. We could look at that.
right, we have one.
So
I can, wait, don't, let me help you.
No, let me finish talk.
Okay, I was just gonna give you point by point.
Let me finish talk. So I think there are some things that we can do and we could work with the highway director on.
Okay, so to help with some of the knowledge I've gained since this came on, we did buy a special Bobcat, and unfortunately, because of price, we bought the last one that was made by a company that doesn't exist, that has attachments that no longer are available. So you and I purchased this.
Joey, I made the motion. I don't think I've ever seen that tractor.
No, I know, from day
Yeah,
one.
it was 25 years ago.
I know, it was a horrible failure, but we tried that. I just want to point out to the public again that it is in the ordinance. There is a penalty attached. Question I have for our clerk, do we have any way of attaching an email request from property owners? So like we have an address where they live, even if they don't live at that property. Do we ask for an email address?
That would be-
I didn't
We
hear-
have where the tax bills go, we could get that.
But that's what I'm asking. I mean, a serious question. Like, do we have, like, on file, does it say John Hanley email address or Joe DePasquale email?
They provided to us.
All right, so, thank you. Mr. DeSisto, can we change our policy to include collecting an email address? Because we could be sending out email notification to people without it costing, up to thousands of dollars on, I remember the last time we did something with the snow, we sent them all in the tax bill. And that had an additional cost. So can we ask people who have property in town that maybe you need to supply me an email address?
So Joey, so basically we're going to email them that it's snowing out.
Yeah, and that it's their responsibility. And then we're gonna email them that they're,
That's going to work.
why?
What happens if they don't have an email address?
Then that's a category of it's, if they don't have one, they don't. Excuse me?
Who would be?
We would be sending out a blast email that would be created in the clerk's office or the Matt's office. We can't look at the ordinance that's not being followed and just continue to say we have no recourse.
This,
Go
can I
ahead,
help you?
please build on it.
I think
Or
that the
destroy
courts
it.
are thinking.
Guys are helping a lot each other.
We're talking about
Wanna help you.
targeted emails to specific people for specific reasons. This would be a blanket email. So does the town have an platform that allows us to send out to an entire list? No.
We have voter registration cards, and I can tell you right now, a lot of them, majority of them don't even put an email address. They don't, some majority don't even put a telephone number because they don't want to be told.
Right.
Yeah, so that's gonna be difficult, email.
Yeah, there's no legal bar to that. You can do it if you can do it.
So we can ask for it.
You can ask, but they don't have to give it to you.
But we also don't have the infrastructure to send out a blanket email.
Why?
blast.
If we got emails from people, wouldn't they be
I don't think.
put into a
Outlook-
database?
And
somebody would have to put all the data in.
Kind of getting past what you had
Yeah.
on the ordinance. This is actually an important issue that probably. won't
All right.
its own line item.
Well, I
I
thought it was connected to the penalty aspect of the snow removal and the ice sidewalk.
Talking about notice.
The notice of violation.
The
would
notice
go
of
to-
violation to
Would
the-
go to the, it wouldn't go email, it would go to the legal, whoever the tax bill goes to. It
It's a
doesn't,
slippery issue, I know.
We've gone through.
it doesn't have to be it may not be the address of the property. It could be an agent for service, but
All right.
that's legally, that's where you would have to send a violation.
All right, well, I think we should do something and
Now, the card for your pickup trash, why don't you include it with that?
well, I'm thinking of like kind of almost an instantaneous, like we see the house, Matt knows the house, we email you and say, go outside and shovel your sidewalk or else you're gonna get a fine.
Joe, the problem with that, either you're gonna have to police the whole town, you can't just pick on one person. He can't police every person in town. And you know what, if you would have given me a ticket, I would show you all places all over town, I'm gonna say, you better clean your sidewalks too. before
Good,
you
and we,
come in."
and
But the point is, it's very difficult, but I think we should continue to tell people, put it in the news, put it in the trash form. I think we should continue to empower people, but I don't know if you could ever police this. And we should do what we can on our part to clean the sidewalks.
I don't disagree with it's a difficult thing, but I do know that we have an ordinance, we have a penalty, we have the 24 hours after the storm. You know, and I've told our DPW director that the biggest issue and problem we have is we need to lead by example. And she's going to put a major effort into the downtown areas where they come out of one street and plow onto the corner of the next sidewalk. I get
we have-
so many
I
complaints
think we
on
have
that.
two issues in this discussion. One is the shoveling of the sidewalks, but I think what the biggest problem is the water runoff, which comes out and freezes.
Yep.
I don't know if we have them on, but
One's the snow and.
there's a separate section that says ice removal.
Yes.
And it's because, or even injurious substances.
Yep.
Yes.
So that, you know, so you could, if it's not, that is one item you don't have to police everybody because it's not always where it's icing up. It's only where it's icing up, you would have to police and issue violations.
I just want the public to know that we're trying and we haven't looked into the electronic email redundant email aspect. I thought of it when this issue came forward. We'll let better minds on a different day with a different agenda deal with this issue.
That complies with the Open Meetings Act.
There you go.
And one last thing about, we would
Sure.
suggest sanding, like doing, sanding that goes onto the sidewalks and then goes up against the building is not ideal. Because we get enough spray onto the buildings, especially on Water Street when the plow goes by really quickly and there are no cars parked. We get like a wave that just like splashes up against the buildings and then you spend the next week, watching it melt off and it's a mess. So sanding that slides out is also problematic.
Good sand she's looking for, good sand.
Yeah, the good kind.
Nice. All right, next we're gonna have new business 2. Discussion and action regarding identifying funding sources for the Northern Spur Bike Path Extension, Broken Bridge to Medicum Ave. Reason I put this on the agenda is we have a new DPW director and we have a very seasoned rec director. And I was hoping that possibly the two of them could get together. One really is the prime drive, Ms. Hunt, and look at the possibilities. I was told that the bike path is a separate entity within DEM. And I think Mr. DeSisto can help with figuring out where that agency is and where how to go about reaching them. And I'd really like to get an answer because it's the reason that it was excluded was the 23 years of the lawsuit that prevented that job from being completed 23 years ago has brought us to where we are today. And that section was chopped out, like it never existed. The new contract was just for the bridge, and we do have a bridge to Barker Avenue. And I want to bring it hopefully to Medicum Avenue. And when they get there, push the button and cross the street or go wherever they want. But until the law, and also the powers that be pushed back on us about 15 years ago, Mr. Hinckley, you may remember, where they were looking for alternative routes. And they kept arguing that we couldn't bring a bike path to Medicum Avenue because, oh my God, well, it's legal to ride a bike up Vernon and up Franklin, and it's legal to ride a bike up Libby Lane. And you use the crosswalk that's there. So until somebody tells me you can't ride a bike over there, it shouldn't be a reason for us not getting the connectivity we need from that bridge to the Medicum Avenue. It's a safe way to school grant initially that made it happen. And it's just redirecting people to Child Street. So if you can, on your new busy, we're going to always add things to your life. If the answer comes back that, you know, we can't do it, we can't do it. I do think that a place exists. And I know Tara, Miss Thibodeau is very proficient in her abilities to figure out if something can or can't be done without much effort. And then the effort begins, but I know you'll. So if I could, I want to put that in the form of a motion that we send this off to Ms. Hunt and Ms. Thibodeau to take a look at the opportunity.
I'll make a motion that
They contact
we
the bike path people.
I'm trying to think of the way to do this because we're not supposed to tell them what to do.
Well,
I'll make a motion that we direct the town manager to instruct the proper departments to seek funding for the northern spur of the bike path extension to the Broken Bridge.
How about,
good.
how about explore funding sources?
Explore funding.
So, explore funding sources, yeah.
That's what I said.
Okay, I'll second that. Where this gets destroyed or dissolved. Discussion on the issue.
So Joe, have we decided what the route was going to be after the bike path? Was it gonna go over the old railroad tracks or?
Yes.
Okay,
What was done at the time, there was development that was allowed on a right-of-way that was purchased by a developer in town. When that development process was in the planning board and zoning board, a section of that land, 20 feet wide, whatever the minimum was given at the time, it's in the rulings, was there and exists. It's a stretch of woods that comes out behind Dollar General and behind 426. So the right of way is there. It's going to need money, and it brings you to Medicum Avenue. So yeah, the answer to the question is
all
yeah.
right, so it's basically the old railroad track.
It is the old rail. It's reduced in size. So any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I hope they leave some of the giant trees that are in there. There are some real big trees, and I'd like to see it a zigzag and keep the neatness of that area because it's really shaded. Next, we have the town manager. And for those of you who haven't gone out on that bike path out in that connects to Long Lane and out to the Broken Bridge, it's a really great 1.5 miles.
Good evening, Mr. President.
Good
members of
evening.
the council. The first item on the agenda is Red Island permit for discharge. If you recall, several months ago.
Hello. Hi. Yeah, several months ago.
We got notified that we had to apply for a new permit for discharge wastewater into the river. And at that time, we hired Fussin and O'Neill to, you authorized the hiring of Fussin O'Neill to work on the town's behalf with Rhode Island DEM because there were several restrictions that were going to really impact the wastewater treatment plant. So they're here tonight to give you their report because we did get the permit, an adjusted permit from Rhode Island DEM.
All right. So, hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. President.
How are you?
Members of the council. I'm Brad Hart. I'm an engineer with Woodard and Kern.
All right, give us the spiel.
All right. So in June of last year, DM came to the town and submitted a draft RIPD's permit. Because of your action, we were able to negotiate and have meetings with the DM over the course of August, September, and October of this year. Following those meetings, they issued a final permit, which was had several modifications that were beneficial to the town. So the handout that you just received highlights two of them. The first one is and the most important one is for the plant discharge limits. So those were modifications to both the BOD and TSS concentration limits, which is seen on the second page of that handout. I won't go into the nitty-gritty details of it, but essentially the draft permit had recommended more restrictive limits, and we were able to get less restrictive limits as part of the final permit. So that's going to result in lower operational costs for the treatment plant and just a general easier process to do.
And our discharge is still considered clean.
Of course, yes. And then the second modification was regarding the submittal schedules. So we actually pushed to have a couple of the requirements of the permit removed. We weren't successful in that regard, but we were able to have a couple of the schedules extended. So you'll see the local limit evaluations were previously due within 120 days of the issuance of the permit. It's now 1 year as part of the final permit. And likewise, the resiliency plan, which is a requirement of the permit, was extended from 1 year duration to a 2-year timeframe. Finally, there's an outfall inspection, which had a 1 year duration and now has a 3-year duration. So this will provide both financial and scheduling flexibility for the town.
Question.
Go ahead.
So you have a permit that's going to be due January 1st, 2027, right?
That is 1 year from the date of the issuance.
Is there another cost to that permit? Are there additional costs to each of these permits?
So these are stipulations of the permit. So they could be achieved either by the town itself. Several of them probably can be. I'm thinking of the outfall inspection and maybe the cybersecurity plan. And it is likely that you will need assistance with the local limits evaluation and the resiliency plan.
So I'm just looking for a financial heads up of what funds we're going to need for those years. Is that something you could provide us?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea? Is it thousands or everything's thousands? Nothing's less than thousands anymore.
The several of those.
Mr. Hellman, please come to the microphone.
They're pretty modest costs. I would say the local limits is probably the most significant, and that could be, that's basically a sampling program that would be done, that could be done by H2O in collaboration with Woodard and Kern.
So that sampling that's something we do on a monthly basis anyways, right?
This is a
little different.
It's additional samples that you have to take because it's looking at potential industrial constituents. So it's a different sampling program. Yes.
The only thing I'm asking for is a heads up of what we can anticipate
Yes.
down the road of these costs.
We are planning to provide those as working with the town manager in providing budget recommendations for the upcoming year. So we'll include that.
Great, thank you.
And how much overall did this cost us? This was budget, we didn't budget this, right? This was we used,
This was not budgeted, but you voted to, up to a limit, I believe it was, $10,000.
right, yes.
so to get to where we are today was around 10,000.
Yep.
All right, and anything else you want to add? So now I don't know if you caught what we said earlier this evening, professionals testifying would be like you guys. So do you come here and if you were here for 10 minutes, get charged you charge the town for your visit here tonight, right?
We typically would, yes.
So if you're here for 10 minutes or 5 hours, does the price change? Because we want to figure out where to put you on the agenda.
Yeah, that was the
because
whole,
It's like $200 an hour for engineers.
that was the whole reason why I asked.
Right,
And
but I mean,
I just want to say this right now, everybody that's listening, department heads that are here, department heads that are at home, anybody in the town, if you have an engineer or a professional that's on our dime, that goes to the front of the agenda.
okay, wait, John, let's be polite.
Hmm.
So is it a salary basis where you're here for 5 minutes or 5 hours?
Yes, it
would
would
typically
typically
be
be an hourly basis.
So it's not hourly.
It is
It is
hourly.
hourly.
It's hourly.
We charge on an hourly basis.
So.
See why I was mad?
Yes.
Okay.
So what we'll do, next time, and we'll have the clerks.
I'm gonna
focus.
make the same
No,
statement again
We're gonna,
next
we're-
month.
see, I just we didn't ask the salary question. So thank you.
Yep.
Mr.
Expect to
President, first of all, I just want to apologize to Mr. Hanley.
I know, I don't
First-
think
first,
people heard it.
I was under the assumption that this presentation was part of the $10,000 that
It
we
is.
paid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
it
part of
is,
the
but-
budget. It's part of the budget.
But tonight, we're being billed for 2 engineers coming to tell us this, this.
it was part of the overall $10,000.
Correct, but
So it's
it would have been
absorbed into
less
that.
if we had them come up before we talked about the deer.
I guess where I'm coming from
Listen.
is it's absorbed, your being here tonight is absorbed in that 10,000.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. We're just so broke that we're trying to figure out if we're paying 2 engineers.
I need to elaborate on that.
Yeah, let's wait for a different day.
No, I need to elaborate on that right now. In other words, it did come out of it's in the $10,000.
Mhm.
But if it cost us $800 up to now, if they would have come up before we talked about the deer, maybe we would have got out of it for $400. That's my whole point, to bringing the engineers up to the front of the meeting, so they're not sitting there listening to us talk about deers and bow and arrows.
I understand, but I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater either. So since you guys have heard this, since everyone watching has heard this, we're gonna try again next month to save a couple bucks. It's on us, not you. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your work, and I hope you don't mind working for people who are fiscally nuts, but you know, we're trying everything we can up here. So any other questions of these fine gentlemen? Our engineers, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager. Next, discussion and action on a 5-year extension of the current operation and maintenance agreement with the Town of Warren wastewater treatment plant between the Town of Warren and H2O Innovation Operation and Maintenance LLC of Port Mississippi. That Mrs. No. Yeah, Mississippi.
That's correct. That's their home
Yep.
home base. Mr. President, this is the current term expires June of this year. There is a option in the current term contract for us to do another 5-year term with H2O Innovations. The terms of this would be that the cost of the H2O running the facility would remain the same. Monthly charges would remain the same. The only change is that the town would take over the responsibility of paying for the testing of, which is in Appendix C, lab analysis. Currently, H2O is paying for those lab analyses. But in the current contract, Town of Warren is supposed to be paying for those. So somehow there was an oversight there.
Right, so is everybody, Mr. Rego, You understand what you heard?
I read that whole contract. I think I read it 2 or 3 times.
All right,
I called you a
so-
question.
You should.
Yeah,
We
so
got
my
away with it for a while.
No, well-
Somehow.
question is, those testing, what are we looking at from a budgetary, on an annual basis? What do we think it's gonna cost us?
So I did ask H2O, and then over the last 5 years, it's averaged about $35,000 a year. But with the presentation we just had, we have to have some increased fees for testing analysis, and I estimated that it'd probably be about, I ran that by H2O people and Eric, and that said that if we added another $5,000, would that cover the additional fees? And he believes it does. Obviously, it's the first year with this new
40,000
permit,
a year.
but-
You know.
And remember, when we increase the fees, we're going to have a
Correct.
one-time boost of
To
about
replenish what-
$275,000.
Collect.
So that hopefully going into this year, our sewer usage fees, associated costs are gonna be in a really better, solid position to have a better, and I know our budget our team is here. So hopefully we're gonna be looking at a better start off of down at the sewer plant, the John Janetto wastewater treatment facility. Mr. Trombley.
From a legal perspective, are they has H2O indicated any desire to recoup what we should have been paying?
No.
Are they willing to sign a document waiving their sort of recuperation rights, or I know I'm
Ask them that. Sure, we can ask.
I'm sure we can ask.
We can ask them right before we ask them if they want the new contract.
well, that's the right time to ask.
You got that right. Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
So the
Is
motion,
that-
if it's to approve the extension, would include that condition.
Sure, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Trombley, Stanley, everybody. Next, we have discussion and action regarding the request for qualifications for professional wastewater engineering services for the Economic Development Grant, EDA.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is for the grant for doing $2.2 million worth of work down at the wastewater treatment plant. And we've had to put out a request for qualifications for engineers as required by law. We did do that. We received just one engineering firm, and that was Woodard and Curran. As part of the RFQ, we're required to do an evaluation. Allison Ring and I looked at the qualifications of this engineering service, and they certainly are qualified to work.
I hope so. There.
Yeah. But we did have to follow through.
Yeah.
And so the next process of this to be sit down and negotiate a price, cost with them, fee with them. We haven't been able to do that, so I'm looking to get permission from the council to start that process.
So we need a motion to approve the qualifications, Anthony. What's the proper step on
The
that?
RFQ.
Accept the RFQ and direct the manager to negotiate with Woodard and Curran for an appropriate agreement.
I'll make a motion. We accept the RFQ and request the town manager to negotiate for
Second.
a contract.
Discussion, one question. Is this project the electrical? The redundant electrical? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have discussion and action regarding repairs, replacement of a chlorine tank at the wastewater treatment facility.
Yes, Mr. President, I was notified by the workers at the wastewater treatment plant that one of the 3 hydrochloric acid tanks developed a leak. At first, they thought maybe it was an O-ring. They tried replacing that O-ring, continued to leak. They then discovered that there were several cracks in the wall of the tank. They did have Hart Engineering come down, take a look at it. Hart Engineering gave them an estimate of replacement of this tank of $37,000.
So is Mr. DeSisto, did you have time to look at the ARA or ARPA or whatever form of ARPA?
ARPA, I did. This repair would not fall into the category of any ARPA funds.
Even though we had projects there that came under budget and other projects that's the wastewater.
It's
doesn't work.
not gonna tie it in, it would subject the town to liability.
All right, Mr. Marshall, do you, Mr. Marshall, do you, think we have the $40,000 to cover this out of the general fund? If you could come to the podium. This is what you're requesting, correct?
Yeah, right, yes, we're looking to see if direction from the council.
To
yes.
repair the,
To either repair this now or wait till. the
and if
next
we
budget.
hold off, we'll be using 2 instead of 3, and
We'll be
that's
using-
gonna be potential problem as well, right?
Well, it's a logistical problem, right now, because we have to have more deliveries of the, sulfuric acid,
Is this,
hydrochloric acid.
is it a single source repair or do we need to go out to bids?
We would have to go out to bids, I
Okay.
believe, yeah.
Yeah.
So the motion would be to.
Not
go
an
out to bid,
emergency.
Yeah.
So
What's the timing? So, yeah, the timing would be if all things happen, we go out to bid, we can go out to bid tonight.
Yeah.
And that would be another month.
Wait till the next fiscal year, or should we address this right now?
I think we can wait. I think we can move up on this. It is a little bit of a pain, with the additional deliveries.
We go out to bid
I would say
first,
go out to bid.
anyway, no cost.
Yeah.
Mr. Rego.
I'm a little confused. Why
Okay.
do we have to go out to bid, yeah. Why do we have to wait?
Well, we don't.
We don't know if we have-
First, we wanna see if we have
How
the
can you
money.
say you don't,
Well, but my thought was let's go out to bid, see what it is, and then we
Sure.
decide whether or not we
Sure,
want
but
to do
we're-
it now or
we're
wait
looking
till the
at
next
crisis
fiscal
mode,
year.
and we can't afford to fix something that needs to be fixed at $37,000.
Or we could budget for it and go out to bid. I mean, next month, we're gonna be in the budget next month.
I would say we go out to bid and then when we get the bids, we decide if we want to do it now or later.
We're not in crisis mode, and if this is something that needs to happen, we have the funds to do it.
Correct, but they're saying it's not gonna happen even if we go out to bid 2 months from now.
What I'm hearing is it should happen, but if we have to wait, we wait.
Okay,
So if it should happen, we should do it.
you're the gatekeeper
So
of
let's
the
go out to bid.
vault.
Yeah,
If
we
you
go
wanna
out to
spend
bid
the
and
money,
we
fine.
work.
I'll make a motion, we, request,
It's like this every time I wanna spend money.
Well,
Mr. Hanley,
I'll make a motion, we request the town manager to go out to bid to repair the HCL tank at the wastewater treatment facility.
is there a second?
second.
We both did, everybody did.
May I have a question?
Yeah, of course you can. Discussion on the motion.
Could the finance director, come back to us when the bid is completed, so to speak, and have the sort of answer on whether or not that fits within our financial capabilities?
Yes.
Thank you.
So next month, when we
Yes.
come back.
If we get the
hopefully-
bids next
hopefully
month.
we
If you get the
bids
bid
back.
next month, yeah.
Whatever timing you want associated with the bid process.
I want to know if we have the money when we get the
The
yeah.
bids come in, okay. And
Although I don't know if that's,
that doesn't have to be.
it doesn't have to be in the form of motion.
When we get the bids back,
You feel
Will
confident
not.
right now to say we have the money?
True.
he said he did.
All right.
Okay, let's, we were hard pressing those guys for $100. Now we're gonna spend it, all right, so motion made, seconded, all in favor.
Aye.
Next, we have discussion and action authorizing the town council president to sign a release and settlement of claim relating to the reimbursement for the tunnel warrant for damage caused by AGI construction of Medic Avenue. So go ahead.
Yes, Mr. President, they damaged a manhole cover they were doing a road cut. They repaired it and they had their own contractor come down and repair it themselves. We had to supply the manhole cover and the
So the reimbursement is how much money?
$394.67, but they require us to sign.
There a motion to accept the acceptance of that.
Yeah, question.
Go ahead.
So over here, it says an unknown property damage to 501 Medicum Avenue / Main Street, Warren, Rhode Island. Was it two different locations or is that a typo?
Where are you looking? I don't see that.
It's the seventh line down, 501
Yeah.
Macomb Ave / Main Street. I don't know why that's in there.
Yeah, I don't know why Main Street, other than the fact that Town Hall.
Piece of paper do you have that's on?
Property.
TM6?
I don't, unless it's.
I didn't get that one either.
You think it's a typo, Ryan?
Yes.
No, I got it, sorry. I was looking at the agenda.
I can check what, it could be a typo. I mean, we did have a claim on Main Street, so they could have just cut and paste.
Well, the bill hasn't changed. So whatever the address says, the bill is still 300 and whatever amount of money. Mr.
300.
Does that matter in regards to accepting,
Prior to delivery.
Yeah,
the,
things are all numbered wrong, that's the problem.
Prior to Right delivery.
Yeah, but it says
you should
TM
get,
six, we're on
Check it.
TM five.
Should we make a motion to approve contingent on
Correct,
correcting
John.
that?
Correct.
All right, I'll make a motion to that effect.
all in favor?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, John, you're right.
It's misnumbered, that's why I couldn't. find
Correct,
it.
I was looking at 5. Discussion and action regarding the 1-year extension of the managed IT service contract with Packet Logic Inc.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. Yes.
It's okay.
So our current contract with Packet Logic expired in November. We've been working with Packet Logic for the last 3 years. We're still continuing to work with them during the we had the flood and the damage to our server. We're still continuing to work with them. At the time that that you entered into a contract with Packet Logic, there was an option for a 4th year. You go into a 4th year. That option increased certain services by between $1 and $20 per user over the last change from the last 3 years. If we continue with Packet Logic, it would be obviously some continuity of knowledge and information that we have. It would also give us an opportunity to look at whether we should, or the town of Warren should have their own IT person in the building or continue to do a managed IT service.
So how's that analysis going to be performed?
Well, we'd have to look at how much it would cost, how much we're paying right now, how much it would cost to bring on either a full-time or part-time person to be here in the building, what information, what equipment would need to be purchased for that person to be here.
So this is a whole separate entity.
Yes, yes.
But you said that the 4th year, that would help us collect this data or be.
Well, Packet Logic wouldn't help us collect the data, but we would be able to explore the options of is it time that we have someone here, either full-time or part-time, like
So
the
that's
police
where you're
department
going.
has.
So that's where you're gonna go with this. You're at the point now where you're looking at paying an annual contractor or figuring out if. it
Going
was
out to
done
bid
in
again
house.
for another managed software system. We don't have the time right now. I don't have the ability to do that.
Do we know
What's the
roughly,
cost?
roughly what the increase is from last year? Well, it says per user,
user.
but roughly total, what the total cost expenses, the increase is gonna be?
Wait a second.
To help you out,
let's-
John.
Go ahead.
Do we have a line item for Packet Logic and what's it under? Extra services.
IT services.
Yeah, it should be probably shared services.
Shared services.
Because an employee for 30 years is about $1 million. So
See, I don't see it under shared services. Maybe it's,
No,
what's it listed under?
Computer and website. Well, halfway down.
You know, website.
The,
So we're at 45% right now, so
how much is the?
What's the total?
What's the total?
Because it's a yearly contract.
88,000.
So it's but see what I don't understand, $1 to $20 per thing, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Wow.
You know, so that's one of the problems with our budget with this shit service.
Yeah.
Not a good.
I was just wondering what the total increase of, it doesn't sound like it's drastic from last year's. I was just wondering if we had a rough, and you wouldn't have an exact number because I guess it's based on the per time you use
Yeah.
it, correct?
Yeah, exactly, what you use during the month.
Yep.
But this person wouldn't be making the same salary as.
We're not discussing hiring anybody. We're still just
yeah.
discussing the new contract.
Speaking with Mr. Baldwin, it could be about $700 difference a month.
I'll make a motion. We approve the 1-year extension for the managed IT service with Packet Logics, Inc.
Second.
Mr. Logic, are you the representative?
I'm the engineer for Back Lot.
Okay.
You're not on the clock, are you?
He's not on the clock.
No, I'm not.
We have
I am not.
I'm sorry, because we have a motion.
We have a motion
So we
second.
have a discussion.
Correct, that's what I was.
Do you know what we paid you last year, or what was more or less?
I'm going to guesstimate a run rate approximately $5,000 a month.
The 60,000.
About, yeah.
That sounds about right from what I remember, yeah.
Some months it's a little higher, some months a little, every month we like reconcile how many users, how many licenses. Sometimes it goes up a little, sometimes it goes down a little.
And you don't know year to date we'll pay you.
I do not. I can get, obviously we can.
So we have a motion second. We met Mr. Logic. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next, we have Finance Director, Revenue and Expenditures.
All right, so, first, the cash accounts are in fairly good shape. I don't think I'm looking at it, I don't think we'll have any problems getting through the next collection cycle, so,
Nice.
yeah, so we're in good shape. We'll probably have to bring in that million for the current year, but, yeah, so we're in good shape.
And then this is the last year of that in the next budget.
In the next budget, we'll have the last one.
Then the school kicks in. So yeah, good. Appreciate everything. Thank you.
Okay.
Just, if I may,
Lewis and Mr. Tromley. Lewis first.
just if you could just
The
touch
rate
base
line.
on where we're at with the audit.
The auditors were here today. They'll be here again on Friday. So they're working now on the funds. So we're moving along. Believe all the well, I know all the bank recs are done. Dave Hanson's finished those. We're going to be working with him to get everything entered that needs to be entered, and we'll be moving forward on that. Everything's moving along.
All right, Mr. Tromley.
I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about the operating funds in this. It's under 2 million for the first time this year, since June. It's about half of what it was in June. It seems just a very troubling trend. Is there anything that would cause you to be concerned at this time? No, I don't think so. Don't forget, I really should have, going forward, I'll move that, the other million down to that operating line, because now it's freed up. It's not reserved anymore, or restricted. I don't think we're in bad shape. I think we're, like I said, will be able to go to the next collection cycle without a problem. Okay.
We have our guardian angels in the room as well as Mr. Abruzzi out there. So I think if anything, we're, really
Amiss,
starting
yes.
to.
No,
Fortunately, we're not going to get caught off guard this time.
well, we have a lot of smart people looking at it, but in terms of finance, I'm not
Right.
the smartest, so that's why I was bringing it up.
You're always right asking questions. All right, thank you.
Yep.
We have one more, police chief.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, all right, I thought you.
No,
One more.
police chief. And again, I'll say, what is it? You look awful sharp tonight.
Thank you. He looks awful sharp every meeting, I think.
No, he's wearing a better uniform or something. Haircut, everything.
We brought the white shirts back.
Picture night. All right, so we have discussion and action concerning Public Safety Dispatch Center. I know what you have to say. You go right ahead.
Yeah, we just, as
I'll
you
help
know,
you.
we want to renovate the dispatch center. Where the window is, we want to move it where the door is so that the window would be in the foyer area. And we would like to take over the bathroom that is attached to that. There's 2 bathrooms in the first floor. They're both identical. They are ADA compliant. So we would make the other one a public bathroom.
Without the registry there, I don't see a problem with the occupant load for 1 bathroom, so I'm in
And the
favor.
money is,
Yeah.
the money is funded. So the cost is under.
It's coming out of opera
Out
funds.
of,
I'll make a
opera
motion, we
funds.
approve the renovations to the dispatch area
Utilizing opera funds.
utilizing opera fund.
I'll second that.
discussion,
I'll just ask.
Mr. Sullivan? The discussion,
No, I have no.
Bromley?
I'll just ask, Chief, does this make us safer as a community?
It does.
Yeah.
Does it cost us anything extra than we've already appropriated? Well, I'm in favor of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Is there a